Ma'am, the other point I want to say is that having discussed all this, it's my time to look towards the economy. We have had the worst rate of growth in 26 quarters, growth dipping to 4.5%, coming to what is Professor Rajkrishna called the Hindu rate of growth. And it is estimated that in the next quarter, growth will fall even further. Now we discussed the taxation laws in this House just the other day. And Madam Finance Minister has given rupees 1,45,000 crore of SOPs to the corporates so that they invest more. Unemployment is at an all-time high of 8%. In 45 years, such high unemployment rate has not been there. Government has failed to attract investments under any circumstances. Madam, that's why I was wondering that where from the government will get this 1,45,000 crores. The budget deficit will rise anyway with this huge tax pop and GST earnings not up to the mark. So I was wondering where the government would find the money to fund this tax cuts, tax sops to the corporate. I found the answer, madam. After much thought, I found the answer. The answer is the government has decided to sell 11 CSPs. Now, when you are expecting for a better time, you want to invest in the current business, you sell the family silver. That's what this government is doing, indulging in rampant disinvestment. Airports will be sold, 6 have already been sold, 6 more are in line. Air India will be sold. Bharat Petrol, BPCL will be sold, and there is a further list. It includes BHEL, Andrew, ITDC's Ashok, Bamalori and Company, MTNL, National Textile Corporation, FCI, Aravalli Gypsum and Minerals, Hindustan Copper, Mekon and Braithwaite and Company. This is the family silver. The government has decided to sell, and we are strongly opposed. This policy of disinvestment of the government, the railways are solely being privatized. Even trains are given over to private companies and to corporates. Ordnance factories are sought to be corporatized. So in this very critical situation of the economy, the government's response is to disinvest and disinvest more. We strongly oppose all efforts to disinvest the government and then disinvest the public sector undertaking. Yes. Thank you for correction. You are in English. No. So, lastly, I want to say, madam, today there is some good news for those who love democracy. Former Finance Minister Chidambaram has been released on bail by the Supreme Court. It is very relevant in the sense that he will be able to take on the current Finance Minister in the Lok Sabha and point out to the flaws. This government has believed in the other day at the Economic Times Summit, the Home Minister promised that we have done all the corrective measures, now it will be free run. Meaning that we have arrested all those who we wanted to arrest, those who are going against us. Now we shall not arrest anymore. That was the message the Home Minister was giving in the presence of the Finance Minister the other day. But fear is the key. This government is ruling by fear and fiat. But in this situation, when there is no social peace, when there is social tension, when investors are afraid to invest, bank managers are afraid to give loans. When bank managers are afraid to give loans, when officials are afraid to take decisions, in this atmosphere of fear, where fear is the key, the fear factor works, investment will not come. If you are really believing in opening up the country, if you are really believing in investment coming in, if you are really believing in more employment coming with investment, you must free the country of this atmosphere of fear. That's why, madam, I have given cut motions. I am the only one who has given cut motions to the supplementary demands. Ultimately, supplementary demands are not voted down. The government will spend extra money and they have to obtain the sanction of the parliament for the same. They have done it in the way, but every aspect of the financial sector is in doldrums. The finance minister has admitted in this house that the total NPAs of banks amount to over rupees 10 lakh crores. Now, the banks are being put together, made into big entities in the hope that they will be competing with global class banks. But that is not to be. Tell me of one particular sector of economy that is working well. Real estate is not selling the flats. And the main problem is, madam, there is no consumer demand. Consumption is less. I mentioned to the finance minister the other day that unless you put more money in the hands of the consumer, they will not buy. So FMCG will not sell. The industries will not work. The unemployment will not lessen. And we have caught in a vicious cycle where the different sectors of economy are showing signs of fatigue. Added to this, madam, is the scams that are happening now. The Punjab and Maharashtra Bank, which we discussed in this house, where people are not being able to draw their life's earnings, the minister has not. She said that 78% of the people have withdrawn their investment. They are all investments below 50,000 rupees. But ultimately, if the government does not ensure that the banks are able to return their money to the depositor, how will investor confidence, consumers' confidence come back? Think of the V1 Housing and Finance Corporation, DHFC, and think of ILFS. These scams have not happened in UPS time. This scam has happened in the present government's time. What are you doing to really punish those who send the ILFS to the present condition? What are you doing about the V1 Housing and Finance Corporation? These are all in doldrums. I have my full sympathy for the finance minister. I am sure that she is hardworking. I also find that she is combative in Parliament. She replies to any criticism very spiritedly. But all I want to say, ma'am, all is not well in the state of Denmark. In this, as Hamlet would have said, in this, to be or not to be is the question. The question mainly is whether the government can take the economy out of the doldrums that are presently in. We do not grudge you taking mere 21,000 crore, you take it. You take it even for putting down the people of Jammu and Kashmir, keeping Dr. Farooq Abdullah in jail. You take it for reviving a bank, IDBI Bank, which has gone to seed. You take it for giving more money to the police. You take it for giving to the Department of Space, which fails to land its rover on the moon. You take it because you have to run a government. We do not grudge you the right to spend more. What we grudge you is that you are going hurtling towards a higher fiscal deficit. You are hurtling towards a lower rate of growth. You are hurtling towards more unemployment. I do hope that the government does come to the House with a package of measures that will take the Indian economy out of the doldrums that it is in. In this supplementary budget, no money has been given extra for agriculture. It's where 31 farmers are committing suicide in this country every day. And the agrarian sector is in the worst crisis that has been there. I do hope, the finance minister sometimes says that green shoots are showing. Why? Because automobile sales have increased during the Diwali period. No. You go to the Maruti factory, thousands of cars are lying there. It's a sea of cars. You go to the General Motors factory in Tamil Nadu, thousands of cars are lying there unsold. We have to take the economy out of the morass that it is in. With these words, I end my speech on the supplement.
धन्यवाद सभापति महोदय। सप्लीमेंट्री डिमांड के ऊपर मैं मेरे विचार व्यक्त करने के लिए मैं खड़ा हूं। जैसे कि इस देश की वित्त मंत्री महोदया जी ने अर्थ संकल्प पेश करते वक्त जो कहा था कि अपने देश की अर्थव्यवस्था हम $5 ट्रिलियन तक पहुंचने की हम कोशिश कर रहे और हम सारे सदस्यों ने उनको बधाई दी थी। लेकिन दुर्भाग्य से आज की अगर स्थिति देखें, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट बढ़ती जा रही है, किसानों की हालत बहुत खराब है, व्यापारी परेशान है, इन्वेस्टर कोई आ नहीं रहे और ऐसी स्थिति में सचमुच अपनी अर्थव्यवस्था की आज की स्थिति एग्जैक्टली क्या है वो हम जानना चाहते हैं सभापति महोदया। और मैं आशा व्यक्त करता हूं कि अपने रिप्लाई में अर्थ मंत्री जी उसके बारे में हमें जानकारी जरूर देने की व्यवस्था करेंगे। जैसे कि इस सरकार ने अनेक योजना अच्छी जाहिर की, जैसे रूडी साहब ने कहा कि मुद्रा योजना इस देश के रोजगार शुरू करने वाले लोगों के लिए बहुत अच्छी थी। लेकिन दुर्भाग्य से मुझे कहना पड़ रहा है कि आज सबसे ज्यादा एनपीए, कम से कम 10,000 करोड़ से भी ज्यादा एनपीए मुद्रा स्कीम के माध्यम से जिन्होंने लोन दिया उस सेक्टर में है। इसके बारे में समाचार पत्र में जो समाचार आते हैं वो पढ़कर मैं बता रहा हूं, लेकिन असली जानकारी मंत्री महोदय ने देने की आवश्यकता है। जैसे कि किसानों के बारे में बात करने हो तो माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने किसान सम्मान योजना एक अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण योजना इस देश में शुरू की। हमने बहुत अच्छे लगे। पहली योजना, पहले इंस्टॉलमेंट 11,000 करोड़ तक लोगों के घर तक डायरेक्ट अकाउंट में गई। दूसरा इंस्टॉलमेंट सिर्फ 7 करोड़ तक आ गया और दुर्भाग्य से थर्ड इंस्टॉलमेंट ओनली 3.77 करोड़ तक गया। मैं समझ नहीं सकता हूं कि पहले इंस्टॉलमेंट 11,000 करोड़ तक 11 करोड़ लोगों तक गया तो तीसरा इंस्टॉलमेंट सिर्फ 3 करोड़ लोगों तक क्यों पहुंच गया। इतनी नहीं तो हमारे महाराष्ट्र के भंडारे नाम का एक जिला है, वहां के भंडारे जिले के एक आदमी को, भंडारा जिला है, वहां के एक आदमी को पहले इंस्टॉलमेंट का जो 2,000 गया था वो गलती से गया, वो फिर वापिस मांगने के लिए वहां गए, गवर्नमेंट के लोग गए। तो योजना अच्छे है लेकिन सही तरीके से लोगों के पास नहीं जा रहे, ये क्या इसके बारे में बीच में कौन काम कर रहा है उसके तरफ ध्यान देने की आवश्यकता है। सिर्फ लोगों को भुला करने के लिए या लोगों को गुमराह करने के लिए योजना जाहिर नहीं होनी चाहिए और सचमुच लोगों को योजना का लाभ होने की आवश्यकता है। और इसीलिए आज किसान पूरे महाराष्ट्र के साथ तमिलनाडु हो, केरल हो, कर्नाटक हो, बंगाल हो, आसाम हो, ये सारे प्रांत के किसान जिस तरीके से उद्ध्वस्त हो रहे, दुर्भाग्य से आज तक 193 आज तक डिस्कशन के लिए इस सभागृह में आई नहीं है, लेकिन मैं आपसे प्रार्थना करता हूं, अध्यक्ष से भी प्रार्थना करता हूं, ये महत्वपूर्ण विषय को आप प्राधान्य दें और किसानों के हित के लिए जो डिस्कशन है वो भी ये सभागृह में आने की आवश्यकता है। तो मैं आपसे विनती करना चाहूंगा कि किसान के संबंधित जो जो योजना है उसे कटौती मत लगाइए, जो जो देना है ज्यादा से ज्यादा देकर इस देश का किसान जय जवान जय किसान ये जो घोषणा माननीय आदरणीय पंतप्रधान लाल बहादुर शास्त्री जी ने दी थी वो सचमुच उसके ऊपर ध्यान देने की आवश्यकता है। अध्यक्ष महोदय, सभापति महोदय, नागरिक विमान यानी सिविल एविएशन डिपार्टमेंट के तरफ मैं आपका ध्यान आकर्षित करना चाहता हूं। आज देश का सिविल एविएशन डिपार्टमेंट खास करके एयर इंडिया, इंडियन एयरलाइंस तो बंद हो चुकी, जेट बंद हो गया, इंडिगो के अंदर भी झगड़ा चालू हुआ और एयर इंडिया आज बेच रहे, कल बेच रहे, कोई आते कोई नहीं आते, सारे कर्मचारियों को सैलरी नहीं मिल रहे हैं और ऐसी संकट में फंसी हुई एविएशन इंडस्ट्री को बढ़ावा देने के लिए केंद्र सरकार ने सही उपाय करने की आवश्यकता है। उड़ान नाम की स्कीम एक अच्छी आई, लेकिन उड़ान स्कीम का अमल जिस तरीके से होना चाहिए था दुर्भाग्य से हो नहीं रहे और आम आदमी को हवाई सफर करने का सपना वो देख रहे थे। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के ऊपर उनकी आशा थी, लेकिन सही तरीके से सफल नहीं हो रही। मेरे क्षेत्र का, मेरे जो महाराष्ट्र के सिंधुदुर्ग डिस्ट्रिक्ट है, वहां का एयरपोर्ट मैं माननीय एविएशन मिनिस्टर से भी बार बार मिल रहा हूं, लेकिन पिछले 2 बरस से एयरपोर्ट पड़ा है, उड़ान स्कीम में डिक्लेरेशन हो चुका है, लेकिन शुरू नहीं हो रहा है। तो ऐसी जो काम है उसके तरफ ध्यान देने की आवश्यकता है। खास करके सभापति महोदय, रोड एंड ट्रांसपोर्ट एक अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण विषय। सद्भाग्य से माननीय गडकरी साहब जी के नेतृत्व में इस देश के कई रास्ते का भविष्य बदल गया। 2 लेन का 4 लेन हो गए, 4 लेन के 6 लेन हो गए, लाखों करोड़ की फंडिंग आना शुरू हो गई, लेकिन दुर्भाग्य से मुझे मालूम नहीं है कि पिछले 6 महीने से 6 माह से रोड एंड ट्रांसपोर्ट को दिए जाने वाला फंड क्यों बंद हुआ और फंड के वजह से रास्ते क्यों बंद पड़े, इसके तरफ भी ध्यान देने की आवश्यकता है। इस देश में कई ऐसे रास्ते कि खास करके मेरे क्षेत्र भी मुंबई गोवा रोड एक नेशनल हाईवे, एक महत्वपूर्ण नेशनल हाईवे, लेकिन कई 6-7 महीने से वो रास्ता बंद पड़ा है। गडकरी साहब ने ऑर्डर देने के बाद भी पैसा रिलीज नहीं हो रहा है। गडकरी साहब अच्छे काम कर रहे थे और सारे सांसद के क्षेत्र के लोगों को रास्ते की सुविधा दे रहे थे। मुझे पता नहीं रहा कि इतना अच्छा काम करने वाले मिनिस्ट्री की फंडिंग को कट क्यों लगा, उसमें कमी क्यों हो रही है। लोगों के हित के लिए काम कर रहे, क्या गडकरी की जो प्रशंसा हो रही थी उसके लिए किसी ने ब्रेक लगाया क्या, मुझे पता नहीं, लेकिन मैं जानना चाहता हूं कि इस देश के जो आप कह रहे हैं, लेकिन इस देश में रोड की आवश्यकता है, रास्ते बनाने की आवश्यकता है, चाहे बाकी की जगह पे कोई कम करे, लेकिन रास्ते की प्रोविजन पूरी तरीके से होने की आवश्यकता है। अध्यक्ष सभापति महोदय, प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना श्रद्धेय अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी की कार्यकाल की ये योजना थी। हम सारे ग्रामीण इलाके के सांसद पिछले बार में भी बार मंत्री महोदय जी से बोले, इस बजट में भी माननीय मंत्री महोदय जी ने इस पीएम जय के रास्ते इसके लिए अच्छी तरह से प्रावधान करने की घोषणा की थी, लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री ग्राम सड़क योजना का फेज 3 का काम आज तक यहाँ भी चालू नहीं हुआ। महाराष्ट्र ने, गुजरात हो, महाराष्ट्र हो, कर्नाटक हो, तमिलनाडु हो, इस राज्य ने ये पीएम जय स्कीम में अच्छे काम किए हैं। तो जो राज्य ने अच्छा काम किया उस राज्य को बोनस देने के बजाय जो राज्य में काम नहीं किया उसकी पनिशमेंट जिन्होंने काम अच्छा किया उनको दिया और वहां के रास्ते भी बंद कर चुके। मैं प्रार्थना करना चाहता हूं अभी का मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, अभी का मंत्री जी बोले ना। नहीं, मंत्री जी को स्पष्टता करने दो। पीएम जयसवाल के लिए आपने कितनी निधि का प्रोविजन किया और कितना पैसा रिलीज किया? बजट स्पीच है, आप पढ़िए। टूरिज्म के बारे में सभापति महोदया,
आपको क्या आपत्ति है?
जरा पढ़िए। सभापति महोदया,
नलिन जी,
सभापति महोदया, टूरिज्म एक महत्वपूर्ण विषय है। अपने देश के प्रधानमंत्री माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी साहब ने अपने कल्पना से स्वदेश दर्शन एक अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण योजना टूरिज्म को बढ़ावा देने के लिए शुरू की, और जो हर एक राज्य का एक एक जिले का चयन हुआ, और जो जिले का चयन हुआ उसे कम से कम 100 करोड़ की निधि का प्रावधान उसमें किया था। लेकिन दुर्भाग्य से परसों में 2 दिन पहले माननीय मंत्री महोदय से बात की, माननीय मंत्री महोदय जी से मैंने बात किया, मैं मिला उनसे और बताया कि जो नरेंद्र मोदी साहब ने जो घोषणा की वो योजना भी अभी अमल में क्यों नहीं आ रहे। महाराष्ट्र का भी वैसे था, अन्य कई राज्यों के वैसे थे। अभी मेरी जानकारी से स्वदेश दर्शन योजना को स्टे दिए है, उसका रिव्यू करने का काम चालू है। लेकिन मेरी विनंती है कि प्रधानमंत्री स्वदेश दर्शन योजना एक महत्वपूर्ण योजना है, उसे न्याय देने का काम माननीय वित्त मंत्री महोदय जी ने करना चाहिए। निधि का प्रावधान भी करने की आवश्यकता है। यूथ एंड अफेयर्स के तरफ मैं जाते हुए मैं एक ही कहूंगा सभापति महोदय, इस देश में युवकों के तरफ ध्यान देने की आवश्यकता है।
मिनिस्टर सेइंग समथिंग, आई विल अलाउ हर टू से।
सही समझा नहीं, मुझसे मिले आप?
नहीं, आपसे नहीं, टूरिज्म मिनिस्टर, टूरिज्म मिनिस्टर
एक बार
आपसे नहीं मिला।
गलत से नहीं हो रही आप?
नहीं, मैं बोला ही नहीं वैसा। मैं आपसे मिला नहीं है, लेकिन मिलने की आशा है। मैं टूरिज्म मिनिस्टर से मिला,
ऐसे ही बोला था।
हाँ, मैं सिर्फ टूरिज्म मिनिस्टर से बात किया। सभापति महोदया, यूथ एंड अफेयर्स, आज देश के करोड़ों यूथ अपने हाथ को, उन्हें कुछ रोजगार नहीं है, काम नहीं, भटक रहे रास्ते पे, और इसीलिए भी एक प्रधानमंत्री कौशल्य विकास योजना का अमल करने के लिए माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने आदेश दिए। प्रधानमंत्री कौशल्य विकास योजना के शुरू के पोर्टफोलियो राजीव प्रताप रूडी जी के पास थे, अभी डॉक्टर पांडे साहब देख रहे हैं उसके ऊपर। लेकिन मैं जानना चाहता हूं कि मुझे मंत्री महोदय जी ने पत्र लिखा कि आपके क्षेत्र में ये जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कंसर्न है उनके माध्यम से इस योजना की शुरुआत होगी। तारीख दे चुके, वक्त दे चुके, लेकिन मैं 6 महीने से आज तक, 6 महीने तो छोड़ो, पिछले 2 बरस से ये स्कीम बंद हो चुकी है। इस देश के रोजगारों को आखिर आप देने वाले क्या है? बेरोजगारों को आप देने वाले क्या है? एक तो कंपनी बंद हो ही रही, ऑटोमोबाइल सेक्टर बंद हो गया, व्यापारी बाहर आ गए, और ऐसी वक्त में ये युवकों के हाथ के लिए आधार देने की आवश्यकता है, रोजगार निर्माण करके। तो रोजगार निर्माण करने के लिए इस अपने गवर्नमेंट का एग्जैक्टली क्या रवैया है वो भी हम जानना चाहते हैं इस माध्यम से। धन्यवाद सभापति महोदय।
वी मिथुन रेड्डी जी।
Thank you, ma'am, for letting me talk on this demand for grant. First of all, I would like to thank our Honorable Finance Minister. She was kind enough to waive off GST on tamarind, and because of this waiver of GST on tamarind, a lot of poor people, lakhs of tamarind workers in my constituency and in my state have benefited. And I am sure, ma'am, you will have all their best wishes during this turbulent period you are handling this portfolio. Thank you very much. And coming into this demand for grants, I would like to put forth my state's perspective more than the national perspective. The central government has brought in an ordinance where corporates have been given incentives in income tax to the tune of 1,45,000 crores. This is a welcome move because it will provide a stimulus to this economy, especially during this downturn. And I think this is mitigated to an extent by the transfer of 1,76,000 crores from the RBI as a surplus. But the fact is that all this is going to go into the non-tax revenues, and this will not be a part of the devolution of taxes to the state. And our state is already crippling with finances. We are having huge stress on finances. So this will actually impact us to the extent of 2,000 crores. Before this ordinance was given, our share of taxes was close to 34,833 crores. And with this ordinance, it's going to be 32,778 crores. So I request the government to take a positive view, because we are already stuck with bad finances. We are having huge revenue deficit. So I request the minister to take a positive view on this as a special case for our newly formed state. And the bifurcation has resulted in adverse implications for the finances of our state. We inherited 56% of the population, 60% of debt, and we also inherited only 46% of revenues. There's a huge mismatch, and there's a huge deficit in revenues for the state, and it would not be inappropriate to say that the bifurcation of the state took place with the two promises. One is special category status on this floor of the House, and the second one is that they will fulfill all the conditions in the AP Reorganization Act. But the fact is that special category status has not been addressed so far. It was promised on the floor of this House. It was promised in the manifesto of both the BJP and the Congress. It was promised not only in the House, it was promised in various meetings by the Honorable Prime Minister himself and all the other ministers who have canvassed in our state. So I think it's the need of the hour to support our state. We are in a huge deficit financially, and I think it's time for the government to keep up the promises made. And even the AP Reorganization Act, a lot of promises have been kept unfulfilled, and I think the government should act in time to keep up what all have been promised in the AP Reorganization Act. And to just give the magnitude of the financial losses what we are incurring, the government in 2000, after the partition, we inherited almost 97,123 crores, and in the past 5 years, the debt has risen to 2,58,000 crores. This is huge, and now the current government, the new government, we are facing a huge burden with this. Just the interest part is 20,000 crores, and the principal we need to pay 20,000 crores per year. It's like 40,000 crores every year. As of now, the government is purely surviving on debt. We have unviable finances. We are having huge revenue deficit, and I plead with the Honorable Finance Minister to take a positive view, and I also urge the government to help our state very positively. And the only way forward for us is granting special category status. YSR Congress Party demands a special category status, and we request the government to keep up the word what they have given us. It is not a demand or whatever we are asking in AP Reorganization Act. It is not something new which we are asking. All this was promised, and we are requesting what has been promised to us. Ma'am, I would like to talk about a Fallow project. It is a very important project. Andhra Pradesh is basically an agrarian state. More than 60% of the population thrive on agriculture. But in the past few years, the farmers have been hit with continuous drought and cyclones. The debt of the farmers was 87,000 crores in 2014, and currently it is at almost 1,30,000 crores. So you can understand the plight of the farmers. AP has the highest indebted farmers in the country. So it is time for the government to help us construct Fallow project, which is part of the AP Reorganization Act. It is a national project which has to be constructed by the center. So the center needs to support with funds. There is almost 5,000 crores pending for the already work done in the Fallow project. We are already living on borrowed finances, and the interest part on this 5,000 crores itself is almost close to 500 crores for our state, which is a huge burden for us. So I plead with the government to release this amount immediately, and also the project is in full progress. Very soon it is going to reach the 41.5 meter level for the spillway and the coffer dam, which means that there will be submergence, and huge amount needs to go into land acquisition and also for rehabilitation. So it is time now this amount be released for the state, and expert committee was constituted for this projects and all, and our new Chief Minister Jagannath Reddy is in the process of cutting costs, saving money for the state. On the advice of expert committee, reverse tendering took place, and we have a huge saving of almost 800 crores. I think this is a direct saving to the central government. So please keep all this in mind. Please understand our positive attitude. Help build Fallow fast, because we don't have such conditions for national highway projects happening in our state. National highway projects don't have. Everything is on fast track. The bills are paid whenever the work is done in a few days' time. But here we have months delay. It's going to drain the exchequer of with additional interest costs. And I would also like to bring to the notice of the Honorable Finance Minister that as part of the AP Reorganization Act, we were promised a package like Bundelkhand, where backward districts get benefit. In our state, 7 districts have been identified, and every year 350 crores had to be released in this regard. But for the past 2 years, this amount has been pending, and even with the current year, a total of 1,050 crores is pending for the state. I urge the government to release this amount soon. And I also urge the Finance Minister to relook into this backward area grant, the whole workings, because if you see the actual Bundelkhand package, it was taken on the number of districts. But in Andhra Pradesh, we have lesser districts with huge population and huge area. So there is a mismatch in this. So we urge the government to take a view, to rework on this and take it on per capita basis. Because I'll give an example what's happened in Bundelkhand and what's happening in AP. If you take the per capita grants which Bundelkhand is getting, it is almost 4,115 rupees per person. But the same thing in AP is 428, just 428 rupees per person, which is a big mismatch, and it is nowhere close to the Bundelkhand package. We are getting only 10% of what we were supposed to get. So please consider this and please rework on this. And I would also like to bring to the notice of the Honorable Finance Minister that during the bifurcation of the state, the first year, that is 2014-2015, it was promised that the revenue deficit will be bridged and the revenue deficit will be paid to the state. But so far, of the total revenue deficit of 22,948 crores, only 3,979 has been released. There was a sort of a dispute between the central and state government regarding this figure, but the CAG has ratified this, that it is 22,948. So there is no dispute on this right now. So I request the Honorable Finance Minister to take a view on this and release the revenue deficit, whatever we have been expecting. And as I've already told, ours is basically an agrarian state. So if you take, we are majorly dependent on River Krishna, and though Godavari passes through our state, not much of water we are able to use from that. So as part of the interlinking of rivers, I urge the central government to take up interlinking of River Krishna and Godavari as a national project, because if you see, in River Krishna, because of climate change or whatever reasons, because of new projects being built, the water inflow into Andhra Pradesh, especially Srisalem Dam, has fallen from 1,230 TMC to 456 TMC. This is the average figures I am giving. So it is almost 1/3 of what water we need to get. So the only way to improve the demographic dividend of the state is to interlink these two rivers. Kindly support us, because we are an agrarian state, and everybody, I think this will be the largest employment generator for the state. And especially it will help Rayalaseema region, which is suffering from continuous years and years of drought. Ma'am, as part of the Reorganization Act, we were promised that the central government will sponsor and fund a port in our state. But what has happened is, Dugrajpatnam port was found to be unfeasible. Dugrajpatnam, so since it is unfeasible, we request money be given for Ramayapatnam port, which is a very crucial port and it is part of the Visakhapatnam-Chennai industrial corridor. And we also request the central government to step forward because our Honorable Chief Minister has announced that he will be going ahead with the Kadapa steel plant, which is part of the AP Reorganization Act. So please be kind enough to help our government. Please help us with the funds to set up this steel plant, or whoever is coming forward, kindly help us out to go ahead with our steel plant. And I also request the Honorable Finance Minister, I think one of the most successful programs helping the poor is Manrega. Please increase the allocations for Manrega during this tough period because it is going to help a lot of poor people. And I also urge upon the Honorable Finance Minister not to cut down the allocations for PMGSY because it is very important for rural connectivity. And also, I request the government to increase the housing allocation to the states, especially Andhra Pradesh, because we have a lot of people below poverty line. And I also urge upon the government to help Andhra Pradesh with all the initiatives our new government has taken. Ma'am, we are going ahead with the renovation of 44,000 government primary and secondary schools. This is going to help the poor in a big way. So kindly come forward and kindly provide us some grant for this development of schools because with good education only the poor can come forward, the people will come above their whatever they are into trouble. And we are also going ahead with the renovation of all the government hospitals and public health centers. Please provide funds for this also. Ma'am, and I urge through you that all the railway projects, they've been pending for a long time and they're getting crippled with escalation costs. So I request the Honorable Finance Minister to take up this cause also. In the end, I would like to reiterate, please keep up your promise of special category status. We demand special category status again, madam. Thank you.
Shri B. Mehtab ji.
Madam Chairperson, I stand here to deliberate on the supplementary demand for grants which is before us for consideration and passing. The Finance Minister has moved this extra spending of around 21,246 crores of rupees as first supplementary, if I may say so. The Union Budget for financial year 20 presented in July had estimated a total government spending of rupees 27.86 lakh crores excluding expenses of public sector companies. Though the extra spending would be 21,246 crores, but actual cash outgo will be around about 19,000 crores. The media and also in different circles, the idea that is being floated around for last some weeks is that there is rising fiscal fears and comprehensive review is needed. There is also suggestions for the government for action is that already a blueprint to revive demand and growth in Indian economy is also mooted. To boost manufacturing, the government must send out signals to the bureaucracy, courts, states and investors. That's how we can improve our economic situation. Here I would like to also mention that Bloom worries economy watchers, and that is what has been repeatedly said by our economists. But here I would like to mention, Madam, that India is now deliberating mostly on the gross domestic product or GDP growth, and that is a topic which is repeatedly hounding most of the economists and thinkers of this country, and that is the measure, as if that is the only measure through which we should aggregate our economic growth or fall, that is. I'm reminded of that morning, that time Sri Somanath Chatterjee was the speaker of Lok Sabha, and that time he had started some lecture series by inviting world eminent speakers and economists to speak on relevant subject. And I remember very clearly, there were a number of people who had come to address and in the central hall, and large number of members of both houses had attended it, and we could hear the then Prime Minister of Bhutan talking about happiness, how to determine the happiness of a society, and that is how he had suggested that instead of just GDP, let us also try to calculate the happiness that ultimately is actually the growth of a society.
Yes, everybody should smile, including the finance minister.
The success of a nation is measured not only by the nation's GDP, but by better lives lived by the people. There has been gradual global shift towards well-being economics, with Bhutan rejecting GDP as the main economic metric in favor of gross national happiness as early as 1971. The United Kingdom has also introduced some elements of it in its economic policy. But recently, in June 2019, New Zealand became the first developed country to make well-being core to its entire budget and the key objective for all its government ministries. I believe we can adopt this as a planning tool, not only to achieve our targets for the sustainable development goals like poverty, hunger, health, but also to gradually shift our focus on people rather than on productivity. The economy exists to serve our people and the environment, not the other way around. My friend Nishikant Dubey had mentioned it, of course, in his own way, and I think this House should deliberate on this subject in great detail in future.
Yes, very good.
But as the determination of our economic growth even today rests on GDP, I would also like to mention here, India's gross domestic product growth for the second quarter of the ongoing fiscal year is only 4.5%, the lowest it has been in at least 6 years. Even growth at current prices is only 6.1%. There is little doubt that the Indian economy is in the midst of a slowdown, one that appears to be driven by both supply and demand side factors. The government has attempted to revive demand by ensuring that welfare grows and seeking to expand other aspects of its own spending. But that strategy is reaching the end of its usefulness. Government final consumption expenditure, or GFCE, has grown to at over 15% year on year and is about 12.4% of GDP. In other words, it contributes almost 2 percentage points of the 4.5% overall growth in GDP. The non-government sector, therefore, may be growing only at about 3%. Clearly, therefore, the picture is much worse than the headline number of 4.5%, and government spending is sucking dynamism out of the private sector. Therefore, the government will have to accept that this is a problem that cannot continue to be tackled by its own spending. It has already sought to revive some animal spirits in corporate India through tax cuts. However, more is needed. Long-pending structural reforms will have to be given some impetus. India is a high-cost and risky an economy to attract investment at the moment, risk must be reduced through administrative, regulatory and judicial reform. Here, I would like to focus relating to my state, which we have been demanding for quite some time. I would humbly want to bring the attention of this House and through you, Madam of the Government, to the amount of fund that has transformed in any kind of project for promoting clean energy initiatives. Only 15,911.49 crore of the total funds relating to coal cess, which is roughly 18% of the total funds have been utilized for the clean energy projects of National Clean Energy Fund, in spite of enough evidence of no action and multiple neglected requests of states to allocate the fund for state-level projects, which seem to be at impasse. Supporting the federal nature of our Constitution, I, on behalf of my state, strongly argue for a definitive plan of action from the government, either by preparing a roadmap to spend the remaining unallocated funds within next year, dedicated to improve the clean energy production, or to devise a mechanism to share the funds with the states, enabling them to boost more projects required in energy sector. Madam, relating to the cesses that are being imposed by the Union government, since 2014, the government has imposed multiple cesses of various causes, starting from Clean India cess, increase in education and health cess, increase in clean energy cess up to 800%. Despite government's GST vision to promote one nation, one tax system, the cesses are still clinging the pockets of the citizens. Although the central government has failed to explain the non-utilization of collected cesses on multiple occasions, still there hasn't been any indication to improve upon current practices. I would like to get some clarifications from the Finance Minister in two aspects. First, how these funds allocated are to be utilized. And second, whether the funds have any negative implication on the state's economic condition. Moreover, I would ask the government to make a monitoring dashboard for various cesses and surcharges collected throughout the country and the projects funded by collected fund, in order to review the specific economic loss to the state and particular industries. This model can guide the government to reduce the cess charges. There is a need to bring a dedicated expert committee to review all central charges except tax, on examining the necessity of these surcharges and cesses at current time, and present recommendation to promote more state-specific fund allocation. Madam, I come to the specifics. I would not go into the details, especially that I had actually marked relating to HRD allocation, relating to sports allocation, relating to petroleum and natural gas allocation. My colleague, Professor Sogat Rai, has already deliberated on that. But here I would like to mention only two aspects. Relating to one, the amount of funds that is actually being spent for IDBI. Here, the capital infusion in IDBI Bank through issuance of recapitalization bonds, that is 4,557 crores. And second, an additional requirement of fund of 2,500 crores for recapitalization of insurance companies. And while going through that, one can understand why do we need this allocation. But I come to the other aspect, which I think is necessary to mention, and that is relating to the home affairs, where more than 8,820 crores is allocated, and that is major part of it is for Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. And here it is because of the 14th Finance Commission's commitment that the union government is providing this fund and it is necessary. I fully support it. But saying that, I would also like to understand from the government. Yes, we have all concern that normalcy should return to Kashmir. But normalcy does not end with Farooq Abdullah. Normalcy does not end with National Conference or, what is the other party? PDP. Normalcy also has to be that we bring back the Pandits who were driven out of Kashmir Valley. When are you going to take steps on that aspect? Large number of people are staying in Delhi and other parts of this country. Many have gone out of the country, and we can hear in international forums what is their plight. Books have already been published. I would like to understand from the government, though this is a supplementary demand for grants, you are going to provide all type of support to bring in normalcy, but think of those people who were driven out of that valley. We should not forget about their plight. Justice also should be given to them. You have only provided 20 crores for Ayodhya. That is, of course, as per the direction of the Supreme Court. But here I would like to come back to other aspects also. I hope the government will respond to the points that I have mentioned. Perhaps the most disturbing aspect of the current economic slowdown is that of the middle class, is that the middle class is not growing. Or I would say it has stopped growing. The government needs to address the overarching issue of agricultural and resultant rural distress. It needs to reform the market for agriculture. There is a need to ignite rural demand for quicker economic recovery. I have just two more points, Madam. Last point. The key problem of the Indian economy is the inadequacy of labor incomes. The share of labor income in manufacturing value added has been going down steadily from the mid-60s and more sharply after 1990-1991. It is now 30%. In the service sector, this share is 52%. There is a need to boost labor income to revive growth. And as one is aware that the principal demand impetus for growth comes from the bottom half of the income distribution. Now I come to a World Bank report which estimated in 2018 that India needs to create around 8.1 million jobs a year to maintain its employment rate. But therein, difficulty in measuring employment in vast informal sector. As per the Economist Intelligence Unit, the unemployment rate is rising year after year, and the rate rose to a 3-year high of 8.4% in October 2019 from 7.2% in September. We were supposed to benefit from favorable demographic dividend, but actually are lagging behind. Therefore, the various blockages in the economy's arteries need to be cleared. These blockages are not limited to the banking sector or real estate sector. The government and public sector must also start disbursing funds on time. The only way out of this hole for the economy is private investment reviving. It will require a genuine effort to increase the fund flow to productive sectors of the economy. With these words, I conclude.
Thank you. Shri Ranjit Reddy.
Support the appropriation bill moved by the Honorable Finance Minister. Sir, Madam, it is a formal procedure for the Finance Minister to come before the House during this session to seek permission from the House to draw money from the Consolidated Fund of India to meet certain expenditures. I welcome this, as these funds are definitely used for some schemes and programs, including 3,300 crores in supplementary demands to meet the ration and the salaries of the police. The first point I would want to make is the Finance Minister has proposed to infuse 4,557 crores in IDBI through recapitalization bonds and rupees 2,500 crores for the insurance companies. But as per the recapitalization plan, the PSUs were supposed to collect 1.1 lakh crores from the market. I would want to know from the Honorable Finance Minister how much they could collect out of this, in addition to the capital which was supposed to be infused. The Finance Minister has also proposed to infuse 1,000 crores for the Prime Minister Ujjwala Yojana to provide LPG connections to the poor. I would want to know through you from the Finance Minister whether this 1,000 crores will suffice for the demand, because what I was said is, in my state of Telangana, the number of connections which were demanded was much more than 9 lakhs connections which were given. I was told that the same issue is there in the other states also. As we all know, the economy is definitely going through a turbulent phase, and the GDP was 5% in the first quarter and 4.5 in the second quarter, which is definitely the second lowest after the 4.3 of 2012 and 13. No one really would want the economy to go down. Everyone would want a growth which is which should not be jobless, but we want a lesser growth which has to create certain jobs for the youth of the country. As we know, as I said yesterday also, the growth story of the country is not dead. As per certain report, the growth in China is stalled, whereas in growth of India is still growing. But we know that there is a perfect storm in the country. The storm has engulfed the auto sector, real estate sector, and the manufacturing. The immediate concern is the crashing demand. And to push the manufacturing sector, the Finance Minister has definitely given some tax benefits to the corporate sector. It is definitely welcome. But the investment will definitely has to come from the saved exemptions only. When it comes to the household demand, the demand for household also is crashing. I would want to know from the Finance Minister how she will take care of this to correct this demand, because the money has to come into the hands of poor. Let it be through Narega wages or Mudra Yojana, or increasing support to the farmers, or to increase the threshold of the income tax limits. And I also read through certain section of the media that the GST Council is looking to rationalize the tax structure. I would definitely recommend 2 to 3 slabs. I also agree with the Honorable Prime Minister, who said that the milk and the Mercedes cannot come under the same rate. Experts are sitting in the council, and I am sure they are good enough to rationalize and such good decisions to push the economy. When certain taxation, in the yesterday's discussion, when the amendment has happened, the Finance Minister has said there will be a deficit of 1.4 lakh crores, which will result in a deficit of 3.8 to 4%, the fiscal deficit. Whereas the expected deficit was only 3.3%. I would want to make a point here also. The fiscal deficit is there to cross the FRBM limit of 3%, which was pegged at 3%, it may go up to 4%, and I also know that it was 5.5% during UPA regime. What I am trying to drive the point is the government of India can cross the FRBM limit of 3%, but when it comes to individual state of Telangana, where the FRBM limit was 3%, it was moved to 3.5% to finance the discoms. But our request of our Finance Minister was to enhance the limit of FRBM to 4%. It is not only my state, many of the states are requesting to enhance the FRBM limits. I request the Honorable Finance Minister to look into this. I have read in some other article also which said that I really do not know whether such schemes will definitely boost up the economy of the country, because we are going through a lull phase. But in a country like Indonesia, when they have announced a VDS scheme, 24 lakh crores were collected in a VDS scheme, which said that any undisclosed income, only 4% of the tax can be paid, and 16% of the amount can be put as a deposit in the country's banks, which are going to release bonds which will be repaid in the coming 5 years. In a country like Indonesia, if they can really collect 25 lakh crores, why not we come up with such schemes? With these observations, I support the bill moved by the Honorable Finance Minister, but I really request her to support a newly formed state like Telangana by announcing a national status to the Kaleshwaram project, if not Kaleshwaram, at least for the upcoming Palamur Rangareddy project, and also support Mission Kakatiya and Mission Bhagirath, which are recommended by Niti Aayog. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. Ms. Supriya Sule.
Ma'am, this has been, no, this changed now. Okay.
Please.
Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity. This week has been Nirmala ji's week, I think. She's been here almost every day with some bill or the other. And I must congratulate her because yesterday, while what Saugata Roy ji said was true, that she is combatively fighting circumstances. And I remember her saying yesterday or day before yesterday that she's been called names, she's been called the worst finance minister, and how deeply she is, and rightly so. I would be if I were in your place. But pilloried from her side. But what I feel is, I would like to say one thing to you, that you got the job in your challenging times. So this is not something that you have created. Challenging circumstances were there when you took this job. So I fully understand, and I see you making a genuine effort to make a difference to people's lives. So I do appreciate that clearly. But there are a few suggestions and questions I would like to ask you regarding this matter, which have already been come up, so I won't take too much time in it. But I clearly would like to seek little indulgence with a clarification from you regarding this IDBI bank. Now, I think Mehtabji also and Saugata Babu have already talked about it. But I just have a little caveat to add to it, that you're doing this, I'm sure your intent is very good. But eventually, if the insurance company is going to pay for this, who owns the insurance company? It's the common man. So it's from one pocket to the other. Then both those organizations may go down. So what is the thinking and the policy that this government is thinking to take this forward? I'm not sure this is the solution for the problems that we have, because it's the common people's money. And where is this money getting used? Is it for the social sector schemes? Where is it getting used that there's such a big gap or hole, I would like to say. Second thing about the Home Ministry. I appreciate the Ladakh MP talking this morning. He was really sounding deeply pained. And here there is so much money given. I feel that Jammu Kashmir deserves more than anybody else. It's not just like Mehtabji rightly said, it's not about one human being, but I think it's the Kashmir people who definitely need. So in this entire money that you've asked for, I think if you ask me personally, it's inadequate. They need a lot more. And I still remember the Honorable Home Minister had said over here that in the first 3 months, they would have a summit to make investments in Jammu and Kashmir. I don't see that happening. So what is the status of that entire situation? In this entire, there is one small caveat, since Gaurav Gogoi ji is here. I was actually taking some advice from him for this. There is this point about promoting industry and internal trade. And in that, there is transport freight subsidies being given to the Northeast. Now, if I remember right, when UPA was in power, these subsidies did exist. Then they were withdrawn, and now they're, it's a welcome step that you're doing it. But what was the logic of withdrawing them? What were the reasons? Was it unemployment or crisis in the Northeast? That's why this has happened. So I think none of these decisions that come up with the economy should be political. I think it has to be fair. Whoever governs whichever state, I think everybody deserves good governance. Till elections, we have differences. Once we have done with our election, I think we all work for a common goal of building a good and a strong nation. So if she could kindly clarify this. Even the CRF, I mean, in Maharashtra, my own state, I feel CRF monies are just not coming. Now it's been moved from the Transport Ministry to you. So be it CAMPA, be it USFO, be it the cess, all these cesses, all these monies which the states used to get, we are doing. I would like to quote Shri Rajiv Pratap Rudy. He was complimenting about, I don't know the situation in his state, but my state is different and the smaller states are totally suffering. He, in his opening speech, talked about GST and the monies that are going and compensation that is going to the states. My state ain't getting any compensation. And from whatever little that I've read from the media, is that the GST collections have dropped. And in my own state, right, in today's newspapers, it's about a gap for all the states is 35,000 lakh crores. Now my own state, which is a larger state, is over 10,000 crores. So now if my state can do it, I can imagine states like the Northeast where Gaurav Gogoi ji comes from, what are those states struggling? So I'm not sure if you could kindly clarify, because he's spoken from the Treasury. I'd like to ask for a clarification that is his state getting something we are not getting, or what is the situation of the GST code? State compensations. He talked about the IB code. Now I'm sure the intent, we also supported that code. And we all thought if the system is going to get cleaned up, it's a welcome step. He complimented it, and he said so much money has come back. Well, we have lost more money in it, and this IB code, that was the whole idea of getting it, is for the stronger economies. I'm not sure ours is an economy ready for it. And the haircuts that are given, there are some haircuts, I'm not against, I do understand your intent is very good, but is this the direction? Because there are some haircuts which are up to 90% that we have given. He talked about NPAs. NPAs, he said, 6 lakh crores, I don't know where it's gone. It's up in the air. It's not up in the air. These are the haircuts given by the government to clean up. I understand that you are trying to clean up the whole system, but I think it's a little bit like Rambo. You're attacking everything. Everything is dying in that, and hence the fear psychosis is what one is hearing is coming from the people. I think the Rambo solution is not going to work. We'll have to do piece by piece, get solution, build confidence and clean up. We are completely supporting the cleaning up of the system. But is that hurting the economy? Something we all have to put our minds to it and see where it's going to take us. About FDIs, I mean, that was something really surprising this morning, because in the FDIs, today in a reply, it was that the FDIs are only going up. I'd like to quote from the reply this morning. The FDIs in 2015-16 were 55 US billion, in 16 was 60.22, in 17, these are provisional figures, which is only 60. So the growth is from 60 gone only to 60.97, and in 2018 again, which is provisional, is 62. So at one time it was from 55 to 60. So from 60 it actually should have gone to 66, and from 66 it should have gone to 73, but it's completely stagnating. And I come from a state where there used to be tall claims, but none of those claims are in this, because it's all provisional. Provisional, a lot can be said, but there is no action, no investments of great FDIs have come even to my state, which is one of the top performing developed states in this country. Another point I would like to bring to the Honorable Finance Minister's notice is, again from my state, is the biggest increase of poverty is a lot of states like Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa, but even in my state it has gone up. These are all reports of today. And inflation. The inflation, rural inflation stood at 4.29 in October, which was September's 3.24. Urban food inflation. This is something I'd really like to highlight. I even spoke the last time in front of her. She's a woman who runs her house. Even if she's the finance minister, I do realize that most women who even work do know how the homes are run. And the food inflation in the urban has jumped to 10.47. Inflation in urban areas is 5.11 vis-a-vis 4.78. Rural food inflation, that was urban, was at 10.47. That's why प्याज का दाम कितना बढ़ा है, सब कल चिल्ला रहे थे. Rural food inflation is 6.42 vis-a-vis 3.2. Vegetable inflation, sir, is 26% vis-a-vis 15. 26%. And even pulses is 11.74. आम आदमी खाएगा क्या? पहले ना नौकरी है, inflation itna bada hai, महंगाई itni badi hai. So what interventions is this government going to do? Even the real consumption of expenditure dropped across the entire rural economies in the doldrums. I was actually expecting something more for agriculture in these things, but there's nothing substantial, unfortunately, for agriculture at all in this. The hunger index and poverty, both this data shows that India is not doing well in this. And I would like to ask, because there's like earlier, I think one of the speakers, I think Saugata Babu only talked about selling the family silver. This, just today in the morning, there was a lot of discussion about operating ratios. You know, to balance the economy, I agree with you, because I am modern thinking. I feel the economy should be open, vibrant. During even our government, Dr. Manmohan Singh ji was for liberalization. I'm not against any of these liberal programs of privatization. But at what cost? I still remember when this government came in, they talked about operational ratio, which even today the railway minister talked about it, and he gave a big explanation of why it is. They talked about Air India at one time saying, they're selling it. BSNL, 70,000 crores. First it was a blue chip, now they're saying no, it needs 70,000. Now same thing is happening to railways. My concern, which I voiced before, and I reiterate, that does that mean even railways are going to privatize? And categorically was denied. But what about the operation ratios? Today we asked about it. So which way are we really headed are my serious concerns. Sir, I would ask her, the Honorable Minister, to clarify this. And one last, two very short points, is just to clarify for my own himself, because I remember the CDBT chairman in a press conference had talked about revenue collections, which you clarified saying the revenue collections are up. They have gone up now during Diwali, but you said the tax collection has gone up. But whatever we read in the media and what reports come to us do not show, and the CDBT chairman himself had said there's a shortfall of 2.3 lakh crores. And to quote earlier, I think Shashi Tharoorji quoted you, and I think there was a little discrepancy in what he said. I still remember you saying that you said there is a slowdown, but we are not in recession. I could be corrected if I'm misquoting you. So I do understand that a lot of things are happening. There is a slowdown, which I appreciate you admitting to it, but I think a lot of suggestions are happening. So if I would urge you to do this, last two small questions is, there was a cabinet committee which was made after the two cabinet committees within the 2 weeks of the Prime Minister taking oath in 2019. One was on unemployment and one was on economy. What is the status, what is the output of or the outcome of those two committees? Because I don't hear about it, see about it. And so I really don't know what the status is. I do understand all these things, but all the demands of grants are slightly disappointing. I would just like to make a small suggestion and finish my speech, sir. You've been very indulgent with time. Is that there are two books I would request this government to have a look at. One is to put on the reading list of the government. One is by the Nobel laureate, who just got a Nobel Prize in 2017, Richard Telles. It's called The Nudge. I think this economy doesn't need a nudge, it needs a push. But let's start with a nudge and then get a push. And one is by Abhijit Banerjee, the son of the soil, who just got the award, is Economics of Hard Times. So I think if we get some ideas through this and take some feedback from all the members, I'm sure we are committed to supporting and improving the economy, because even if we are in the opposition, we don't want our country to suffer at the cost of our differences. So if there's anything more we can do to help, suggest, recommend, we'd be happy to help the finance minister in whatever we can. We do support these grants, but we're little disappointed that it really didn't do justice for people who really needed the push. Thank you.
Thank you. Shri Nihal Chand. Yeah.
पूर्व अनुदान की मांग 2019-20 के विधेयक के समर्थन में मैं खड़ा हुआ हूं। सभापति महोदय, माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी ने 2019-20 के लिए 21,246 करोड़ रुपए का एक प्रावधान किया है, और मैं समझता हूं कि किसी भी देश की अर्थव्यवस्था को मजबूत करने के लिए उसकी अनुदान मांग और या उसका बजट होना बहुत जरूरी है। आज भारत विकास के मामले में कहीं भी पीछे नहीं है। पूरे विश्व के अंदर अगर भारत को विश्व गुरु माना जाए तो ये भी कोई छोटी बात नहीं है। मैं समझता हूं कि इस देश के 70 साल के इतिहास में आज तक जो जो सरकारें यहाँ पे रही है, अगर देश के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र भाई मोदी के नेतृत्व में चलने वाली सरकार ने जिस तरीके से काम किया होता तो आज ये भारत की स्थिति ये नहीं होती। आज 10 साल के अंदर भारत विश्व के अंदर विश्व गुरु बनने जा रहा है। अगर इसका सबसे बड़ा अगर किसी को कोई श्रेय दिया जाना चाहिए तो देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी को और इस सरकार को, केंद्र सरकार को दिया जाना चाहिए। सभापति महोदय, यह बात मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूं कि इस देश के आजादी के 70 साल बाद इस देश के अंदर पहली बार 2014 में जब ये सरकार बनी थी तो ग्राम पंचायत के लिए सीधा पैसा देने का प्रावधान किया था। एक एक ग्राम पंचायत को 14 फाइनेंस कमीशन का, एक एक ग्राम पंचायत को 30 लाख, 40 लाख, 50 लाख रुपए अगर किसी ने दिया तो देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी ने दिया। ये लोग जब यहाँ पे बैठा करते थे तो 60 साल तक इन्होंने जीवन में कभी नहीं सोचा कि गांव का विकास होना चाहिए, गांव के जो अंतिम छोर पे बैठे हुए व्यक्ति है उसको आगे बढ़ाने का काम किया जाना चाहिए। उसके लिए खाने की, उसके लिए पीने की, उसके लिए मकान की व्यवस्था है या नहीं है, इन्होंने कभी भी यहाँ बैठ के नहीं सोचा था। इसकी बदौलत ये लोग यहाँ से उठकर वो वहां चले गए। और मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि आजादी के 70 साल बाद पहली बार 14 फाइनेंस कमीशन का, 15 फाइनेंस कमीशन का पैसा ग्राम पंचायत को सीधा जा रहा है। आज ग्राम पंचायत की सारी सड़कें बन रही है। ग्राम पंचायत पूरी की पूरी अर्थव्यवस्था के मामले भी अपने बलबूते पे वो आज खड़ी है। जिस तरीके से एक देश की सरकार, हमारे फाइनेंस मंत्री जी यहाँ पे बैठे हैं, ये जो जिस तरीके से बजट रखे हैं, पहली बार ग्राम पंचायत, इस देश की ग्राम पंचायत 5 साल का बजट तैयार कर रही है। अगर इसका सबसे बड़ा किसी को श्रेय दिया जाना चाहिए तो वो केंद्र सरकार और देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी को दिया जाना चाहिए। अभी मुद्रा योजना का जब हम लोग जिक्र कर रहे थे, मैं समझता हूँ कि ये योजना हमारी ये सबसे अच्छी योजना है। अभी मैं मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी टूर पे था तो एक गडरिया लोहार अपनी गाड़ी को लेकर जा रहा था, उस गाड़ी के पीछे लिखा हुआ था प्रधानमंत्री मुद्रा योजना। और जब मैंने उनसे बात की तो उस बुढ़िया ने कहा कि देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी ने प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना और मुद्रा योजना में जो ये गाड़ी हमको लेके दिए, इसके लिए हमारी भी उम्र अगर देश के प्रधानमंत्री को लग जाए तो वो भी बात छोटी नहीं है। एक आम लोगों की सोच ये है सभापति महोदय, और मैं समझता हूं कि पहली बार पिछले 5 साल के अंदर इस देश की सरकार ने जो काम किया है वो आज तक किसी ने किया नहीं है। आजादी के बाद पहली बार, जब पिछली बार प्रधानमंत्री जी ने प्रधानमंत्री सिंचाई योजना का प्रावधान किया, 53,000 करोड़ रुपए इस बजट में रखे थे। पहली बार मैं एक ऐसा व्यक्ति हूं, एक कैनाल के लिए 4,000 करोड़ रुपए केंद्र सरकार ने दिए थे। हमारी जो राजस्थान की जीवनदायिनी है राजस्थान कैनाल, उसके लिए अगर 4,000 करोड़ रुपए अगर देने का किसी ने काम किया तो देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी ने किया। वित्त मंत्री जी यहाँ पे बैठे हैं, मैं इनके माध्यम से मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि आपने तो पैसा हमें दिया है, लेकिन वो पैसा सही लग रहा है या नहीं लग रहा, ये देखने की बात है। जब राजस्थान में सरकार बदली, सरकार बदलने के बाद में ऐसे कई डिसीजन हुए, वो पैसा आज का आज अधूरा पड़ा है। जब वो 4,000 करोड़ रुपए केंद्र सरकार ने दिए, और मैं समझता हूं कि जो नहरें बननी थी वो बन गई, जो बीच में थी वो बीच में रह गई। ऐसी कई योजनाएं जो हमारी केंद्र सरकार की योजनाएं थी वो स्टेटों में जाके फंस गई है। अभी कुछ यहाँ पे जिक्र चल रहा था आयुष्मान भारत योजना का। सभापति महोदय, आज सुबह मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी के कार्यालय में गया और मैं एक लंबी लिस्ट लेके गया कि मेरे पास में मेरे कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी से एक लिस्ट आई है कि कैंसर पेशेंट है, उनको पैसा देना चाहिए। आप जानते हैं कि कैंसर पेशेंट के लिए प्रधानमंत्री जी एमपीज को 35 कैसे प्रधानमंत्री राहत कोष में हमको मिलते हैं, लेकिन राजस्थान में आयुष्मान भारत योजना जो राजस्थान में अभी तक चालू नहीं हुई है, पूरे केंद्र में चल रही है, राजस्थान में नहीं चल रही, बंगाल में भी नहीं चल रही, 1-2 स्टेट ऐसी है जहां पे नहीं चल रही है। और मैं आपके माध्यम से कहना चाहूंगा कि प्रधानमंत्री जिन लोगों को, गांव के अंतिम छोर पे बैठे हुए लोगों को वो फायदा देने की बात कर रहे थे, लेकिन स्टेट सरकार ने अभी तक डाटा तक केंद्र सरकार को नहीं भेजा है। अगर ऐसी हालात किसी ने किए तो इन लोगों की वजह से आम लोगों की हो रही है। और मुझे कहते हुए कोई शंका नहीं है कि अगर आज गांव के अंतिम छोर पे बैठे हुए व्यक्ति को अगर उसका लाभ नहीं मिल रहा है तो कई ऐसे नेगेटिव सोच के लोग, कई ऐसे नेगेटिव सोच की सरकारें बैठी है वहां पे, इसकी वजह से लाभ नहीं मिल रहा है। और मैं तो कहना चाहूंगा अभी किसानों के लिए जो इन्होंने किया था वो मुझे कहते हुए कोई शंका नहीं है। मैं कह भी सकता हूं कि जो आपने कभी घोषणा की वो घोषणा आपने कभी पूरी नहीं की, और जो प्रधानमंत्री जी ने किसान निधि योजना की जो घोषणा की थी उसका भी डाटा राजस्थान सरकार ने अभी तक नहीं भेजा है। और हम लोग कहते हैं कि किसानों को फायदा नहीं मिल रहा। स्वागतदाता अभी कह रहे थे कि किसानों को फायदा नहीं मिल रहा, 1 किस्त आई है, 2 किस्त आई है, 3 किस्त आई है। जब कोई सरकार, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट की सरकार अगर केंद्र सरकार को डाटा तक नहीं भेजेगा तो केंद्र सरकार उसमें पैसे देने का प्रावधान कैसे करेगी, ये मेरी समझ से बाहर है। तो मैं आपके माध्यम से मैं केंद्र सरकार से भी अनुरोध करूंगा कि इन बातों को गंभीरता से लेकर स्टेट सरकार से अगर वो ध्यान दें ताकि इन योजनाओं का लाभ, प्रधानमंत्री जी की योजनाओं का लाभ सीधा गांव के लोगों को मिल सके। अभी उज्ज्वला योजना की बात कर रही थी, कभी किसी ने नहीं सोचा था कि गांव के अंतिम छोर पर बैठे हुए व्यक्ति ने कभी जीवन में सोचा नहीं कि मेरे घर में भी कभी गैस का चूल्हा जलेगा क्या। उसके घर में गैस का चूल्हा जलाने का अगर किसी ने काम किया तो देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी ने किया। आज उस घर में गैस जल रहा है, आज गैस का चूल्हा उस घर में है तो प्रधानमंत्री जी की वजह से और केंद्र सरकार की वजह से। मैं तो मेरी तरफ से और राजस्थान प्रदेश की तरफ से मैं प्रधानमंत्री जी को धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगा कि ऐसी योजनाओं की शुरुआत केंद्र की सरकार ने की है। अभी प्रधानमंत्री जी ने एक प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना की शुरुआत की थी, और मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि जब इस योजना की शुरुआत हुई उससे किसान का बहुत बड़ा बेनिफिट मिला है। मैं मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में बात करना चाहूं तो मैं पूरे देश की बात नहीं करूंगा, लेकिन मेरे लोकसभा क्षेत्र में 2 जिले हैं, तो मेरे लोकसभा क्षेत्र में 34 करोड़ रुपए का फसल बीमा योजना का लाभ हमारे किसानों को मिला है, और 227 करोड़ रुपए का श्री गंगानगर में और 34 करोड़ रुपए का हनुमानगढ़ में, यानी मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में लाभ मिला है। करीबन 60,000 से ज्यादा किसान इससे लाभान्वित तो हुए हैं। अगर वो किसी की देन है तो इस सरकार की और देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी की है। माननीय सभापति महोदय, मैं आपके माध्यम से इतना सिर्फ यह कह सकता हूं कि आज हम लोग किसान होते हुए भी किसान की जमीन कैसे है उसकी अगर किसी ने अगर किसी ने सोचा उसके लिए, किसान के लिए, तो देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी ने सोचा। सोयल हेल्थ कार्ड की शुरुआत जब हुई थी वो मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी से श्री गंगानगर से देश में हुई थी। हमने मेरे जिले में, मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा, मेरे एक जिले में 2.5 लाख सोयल हेल्थ कार्ड हमने बनाए हैं। हर जगह लैब स्थापित करके किसानों को फायदा मिले ऐसी योजना हमने बनाई है, सरकार ने बनाई है। अगर ऐसी योजना सारी सरकारें बनने लग जाए तो किसान का कितना उत्थान होगा। सभापति मुझे मुझे कहने की जरूरत नहीं है। ये जीडीपी की बात कर रहे हैं, मैं किसान हूं, मैं जीडीपी को नहीं मानता। मैं सिर्फ कह सकता हूं कि अगर मेरे खेत में अगर 10 क्विंटल प्रति बीघा के हिसाब से अगर कॉटन हुआ है तो मेरी जीडीपी अच्छी है। मैं समझता हूं कि देश के प्रधानमंत्री ने जब किसानों की जीडीपी वही है। जब देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी ने एमएसपी तय कर दिया, उस एमएसपी पे हमारी फसल बिक रही है। अगर जहां पे हमारी सरकार नहीं है वहां पे ये थोड़ी गड़बड़ कर रहे हैं, ये इधर बैठे ये लोग थोड़ी गड़बड़ कर रहे हैं, इसका मैं कह नहीं सकता, लेकिन मैं कह सकता हूं कि जो इधर बैठे लोग हैं वो वहां पे कोई भी कोई गड़बड़ नहीं कर रहे। तो अगर हमारा किसान की फसल अगर सही मामले में सही दामों पे हमारे किसान की फसल बिके तो मैं कह सकता हूं कि किसान की जीडीपी वही है, वो किसान आगे बढ़ेगा, वो जिला आगे बढ़ेगा, वो प्रदेश आगे बढ़ेगा, तो वो देश शिखर के पथ पे पहुंचेगा। सभापति महोदय, मैं आपके माध्यम से मैं सरकार से निवेदन करूंगा कि ऐसे कई मामले जो विचाराधीन सरकार के रहते उनको पूरा किया जाना चाहिए, लेकिन इन्होंने जो काम किया है, इस सरकार ने जो काम किया है, मैं 1996 में सभापति महोदय मुझे पहली बार यहाँ पे आने का सौभाग्य मिला। मैं थोड़े से टाइम को छोड़ के पिछले 25 साल से इस सदन में हूँ और मुझे कई स्टेटों में जाने का भी सौभाग्य मिला है। सभापति महोदय, हमने देखा है कि वहां पे रेल का इंजन है वो बिजली से चलता है। हमने जीवन में राजस्थान के लोगों ने सोचा नहीं था कि बिजली से भी कभी इंजन चलेगा क्या, लेकिन मैं रेल मंत्री जी यहाँ पे बैठे हैं, पीयूष जी, मैं रेल मंत्री जी का मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगा कि मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में भी विद्युत की रेल के इंजन चल रहे हैं। अगर इतना बड़ा अगर किसी ने काम किया है तो देश की सरकार ने और देश के प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में चलने वाली सरकार ने किया है। ये कुछ छोटी बात नहीं है सभापति महोदय। पर्यटन की दृष्टि में भी हम कहीं भी पीछे नहीं है। इस देश के अंदर पर्यटन की दृष्टि में अगर कोई सबसे आगे निकला है, विश्व का अगर कोई पर्यटक अगर सबसे ज्यादा किसी ने किसी देश में आने की कोशिश की है तो भारत में आने की कोशिश की है, और मैं कह सकता हूं कि पर्यटन की दृष्टि में भारत आगे निकला है। मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में ऐसी 2-3 जगह, कालीबंगा एक सभ्यता है मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में सभापति महोदय, इनका जब राज था, जो ये लोग बैठे इनका राज था, तो कालीबंगा सभ्यता में एक कंकाल पड़ा था जो 9 फीट का था, वो भी लोग उठा के लेके गए थे, ये उसको भी नहीं संभाल पाई। और मैं कह सकता हूं कि पर्यटन की दृष्टि में हम सबसे आगे हैं। कुछ चीजें बनाने की, कुछ चीजें सुधारने की। मैं आपकी बात को समझ रहा हूँ, आपके इशारे को भी मैं समझ रहा हूँ, लेकिन सभापति महोदय, मैं सौभाग्यशाली हूं कि जब मैं बोलता हूं तो आप यहाँ पे बैठते हैं, इसलिए कुछ टाइम मुझे और मिलेगा। मैं ज्यादा कुछ नहीं कहता, मैं सरकार को सुझाव देना चाहूंगा कि मेरे लोकसभा क्षेत्र में ही नहीं, पूरे राजस्थान में जो आपने 4000 करोड़ रुपए सिंचाई परियोजना में सरकार स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को दिए हैं, राजस्थान सरकार को दिए हैं, पंजाब सरकार को दिए हैं, हम लोग पंजाब का गंदा पानी हम लोग पी रहे हैं, जिसकी वजह से हमें कैंसर हो रहा है, पीलिया हो रहा है, थायराइड हो रहा है, और हमारे जिले के लोग, हमारे राजस्थान के लोग, 8 जिलों के लोग इस बीमारी से ग्रसित है। और मैं आपके माध्यम से केंद्र सरकार से आग्रह करना चाहूंगा, माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी यहाँ पे बैठे हैं, मैं उनसे आग्रह करना चाहूंगा कि पंजाब से जो गंदा पानी राजस्थान को आ रहा है, केमिकल युक्त और सीरा शुगर मिल का गंदा पानी जो आ रहा है, उस पानी को रोकने का वो काम करें। पैसे आपने दे दिए, आप भी पंजाब सरकार से बात करें। और इसके साथ साथ मैं आपके माध्यम से सिर्फ एक निवेदन मैं सरकार से करना चाहूंगा कि मेरे जिले में, मेरे लोकसभा क्षेत्र में 2 जिले हैं, दोनों में सरकार ने मेडिकल कॉलेज खोले हैं। मैं सरकार को और प्रधानमंत्री जी को मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगा। 325 करोड़ रुपए हमारे जिलों को दिए, दोनों जिलों को दिए, मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगा। और मैं एक आपके माध्यम से सरकार से निवेदन करूंगा कि मेरा जो लोकसभा क्षेत्र है वो एग्रीकल्चर है, पूरा किसान है, वहां का पूरा सिंचाई पे निर्भर है, 3 नहरें वहां पे आती है, और पूरा एग्रीकल्चर होने के कारण, क्योंकि राजस्थान में गंगानगर जिला ऐसा है जो पूरा सिंचाई में उसमें पानी जाता है, तो मैं केंद्र सरकार से मैं डिमांड करूंगा कि वहां पे एक कृषि विश्वविद्यालय श्री गंगानगर में खोला जाए। वहां पे एग्रीकल्चर रिसर्च सेंटर वहां पे है, कृषि विश्वविद्यालय खोलने की मंजूरी देवे, मैं यही आपके माध्यम से निवेदन करूंगा। और सभापति महोदय, मैं इस बजट के इस पूरक अनुदान मांग 2019-20 के इस विधेयक के समर्थन में मैं खड़ा हूं, मैं यही आपसे आग्रह करूंगा। बहुत बहुत
थैंक यू, धन्यवाद। श्री थिरुनावाकर सर, गलत उच्चारण तो नहीं कर दिया मैंने? आई प्रोनाउंस राइट? जी, थैंक यू, प्लीज।
Sir, thank you very much for giving the opportunity. Sir, in the budget presented for this year, 2019-20, the estimated government expenditure was 27.86 lakhs crores. Now, through this supplementary budget, Finance Minister has asked 21,246 crores and 16 lakhs more, mainly for few of the items like Department of Financial Services 2,500 crores, Department of Space 666 crores, Petroleum and Natural Gas 1,000 crores, Ministry of Home Affairs 8,820 crores, Police 3,377, Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade 565, Defence Services 2,000 crores. Sir, through this additional expenditure, the expected fiscal deficit, which was budgeted by the government when it was placed, it was only 3.3. Now it is likely to increase to 3.7 to 3.8%. And again, GDP, I think it is the slowest or lowest in the last more than 6 years. It is now, it has come down from 4.5 to 4. GDP growth in 2018-19 was 7.1. In second quarters of 2012-13, it was 7.49. Now which has come to 4%. But people like economists like Subramanian Swamy, who is a senior leader in BJP, and MP also, he says it's not correct. 4.5 is not correct, it's only 1.5. It's a false statement. And people around Prime Minister, or I don't know, near Finance Minister, they are not telling the truth. It is only 1.5. They are telling it with the English figure of 4.5. It is his statement, I don't know which is true. Sir, 5 trillion economy within 2022-23. What was the dream of Mr. Modi or this government? Now, according to the growth rate, I think it is estimated it will take another 10 years. You can achieve 5 trillion economy only after 10 years, that is 2033-34 only. According to this level of growth, you can aim to achieve. So the main reason of the economic slowdown is low investment and unemployment. I want to know from the Honorable Finance Minister, it is good our Honorable Prime Minister is making frequent trips to foreign countries, and more than 100 times he has visited so many countries. I don't know how many countries he has visited and how many is yet to be visited. People appreciate him, particularly the people who are in foreign countries, they appreciate him. They treat him as NRI Prime Minister, non-resident Indian Prime Minister. They are all happy, but our Indian people are sad. They are not able to see him frequently. Out of 550 districts, there are so many districts where our Prime Minister has not visited. But I think very few countries are left out. yet he has to visit. Okay, it is good. Let him visit. But I want to know from the Honorable Minister, how many agreements have been signed in these more than 100 countries so far he has visited for FDI, foreign direct investment? What are the countries and what are the agreements and what are the amount signed and what are the amount invested state-wise? I come from Tamil Nadu, I don't know how much money is invested in Tamil Nadu. As far as I know, nothing is invested in Tamil Nadu. And in industrial sector, how many industries have been started with FDI and how much employment opportunity is created? And this is in America, almost 67% of people, working age adults are employed.
Please.
No, 2 minutes.
Already.
2 minutes. One minute, 2 minutes.
Please.
So in India, it is nearly 50% only who can work. Working age adults. It's a low income, low per capita consumption. So growth is slow because of low investment, mainly in industrial sector, and increase in unemployment. These are the main reasons. So growth is not possible without investment in manufacturing industry. How we are going to compensate? How we are going to increase the economy? So the government is planning to sell all the public sector units. Honorable Minister, she had her school and college education in Trichy. Trichy is your place also, madam. I want to request you to stop selling of Trichy Airport, International Airport. It is in the second list for sale, private sale. So already 11 public sector units, including now spoken, including MTNL or BSNL, and so many public sector units, including railway now.
Please conclude.
I will conclude.
Please.
And you are going to sell more than 51% share also. You are going to sell to the private people, private partners. So that the government is going to become minor partners in the public sector units. So I insist that profit-making public sector units should not be sold. One or two requests I want to make on behalf of Tamil Nadu. One minute, I will finish it.
Please.
See this Manrega, Mahatma Gandhi Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, I request the Honorable Minister to increase the number of days to 200 and increase the salary also to 300 rupees. It will help women folk in rural areas. One minute. And as our another honorable members have requested, I request the Honorable Finance Minister to increase the MP-led fund also. As others have told here, for MLA it is 3 crores in Tamil Nadu. In Kerala it is 6 crores. In Delhi they are planning to increase to 10 crores.
Please.
So at least 2 crores per MLA constituency.
Shri.
Sir, 1 minute, fine. 1 minute, common request.
Listen me.
Sir, 1 minute.
पालन तो करना होगा.
1 minute. Which is 1 minute.
Please. 10 minutes now.
And for MP office, in every parliament, in MLA there is an office, MLA constituency. For MPs they must have an office in every parliament. 50 lakhs can be allowed within the MLA fund also. That's number 2. So another request, this unemployment youth should be helped with a monthly allowance until they get employment. In Tamil Nadu, 1 crore people are unemployed. Throughout the country, more than 30 crores people are unemployed. Some assistance until they get monthly assistance should be given. That farmers and fishermen community during their off season they should be helped with some allowance, monthly allowance.
Shri P.K.
And fishermen
Kunnalikutti.
and agriculture farmer,
Shri
farmers
P.K.
should be helped with the pension scheme. These are the few.
5 minutes, please. Please be brief. 5 minutes, please. But 5 minutes. Ji.
Sir, many who spoke from the other side were claiming that everything is fine. My case is fine.
It's all right.
Everything is fine and the country is marching ahead with the prosperity. Sir, what kind of a prosperity is this? We don't know. We have seen better times. This kind of to talk about the prosperity of the nation, we don't see anything. There is no movements in the market. There is no job for youngsters. We see sleeping towns and there is no buying or selling or anything in the shops. There is no real estate movement, nothing. There is no financial movement. There is no purchase or sale or anything. What kind of a prosperity is this? Sir, we are in a very difficult situation, it seems. We are not marching ahead to prosperity. The fear is that even economists are talking, people at large have the doubt that we are going ahead, we are going towards a poverty situation. Look at the situation in the country. The prices of essential commodities, the food is becoming very difficult. Medicines are becoming, health is becoming very difficult for the common people. Education, it is becoming very costly for the people. What kind of prosperity is this? When did it start? The then Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, at the time of demonetization, had warned this situation. At that time, you didn't agree with him, mocked with him. He even said he is taking bath, wearing the raincoat and all that. But actually that kind of a situation has emerged in the nation. Now, I am afraid the country is losing its credibility among the other committee of nations. There is talk that we are even going below the neighboring countries, Bangladesh, Pakistan and all that in many areas. Is it a happy situation? So the finance minister should think about something very serious. Giving concession to the big business houses again and again will not help. That is what many economists say. A real solution has to be thought about. Otherwise, the fear among the people at large is that we are going ahead towards a very poverty kind of situation. It is shocking. The onion price is an example. We know that the common man, apart from the roti, they need onion and salt. It is a mere need they have. Even that is not a nutritious food. We want to talk about a nutritious food when they cannot buy even onion for a taste. So what kind of a situation that we have already landed in? So the situation is very, very serious. The workers are losing jobs. How many of them are losing jobs? Industry is not running, major industries are not running, and middle class people are not able to employ people, so workers are losing, particularly the unorganized sector. In the unorganized sector, the workers are losing their jobs. They don't have a job at all. They are not working at all on any day. Then how are they going to buy their bare minimum needs every day? So I again say the situation is very serious. Take for example small and medium scale industries. This is where we found major jobs. This sector is a sector where ordinary people have been given, workers are given job. But small scale and medium sector is in great difficulty. The GDP, many said here, the GDP is at in the lowest stage during the last 7 years. Somebody was saying is GDP, we need not take into account GDP. We can take into account the happiness of the people. That is equal to say that we should be contented with what we have. We are happy with what we have. Even if we don't have onion to eat, we should be contented with the roti. That is what it is. You see, we should be a country like that. It was a prospering country. It was a country which was fighting to be a major voice in the world. Then a stage has come, and when we are advised that we should be happy with what we have. So it is a very difficult situation. Take for example the situation in Kerala. Kerala is one state where actually there is a minimum standard of living. People could buy things and there is no poverty. But even in that state, reports are coming that poverty is creeping in. There are reports. I am concluding, sir. So the situation now the country faces is very serious. The mere eye-washing will not help. The finance minister or the people who are discussing these things or the government itself should something very serious. Otherwise, this country will break down and it will go even below the countries, our neighboring countries. This is what I want to say. Something serious has to be done more than talking politically.
Shri A.M. Arif. Again,
for giving me the opportunity to speak on the bill and demands of grant. Sir, what was our Honorable Finance Minister's budget speech? I remember it, about the GDP growth and the 5 trillion economy. Now our GDP growth rate has fell down to 4%. Again, the government is saying that India is going to be a $5 trillion economy. Our country's economy is at time bomb. It will blast any time. The Honorable Prime Minister and his dear corporate friends are saying that India is shining. Government is not reducing the poverty, but reducing the number of poor in the data sheet. I am telling about the withholding of the Consumer Price Index data of 2017 and 18 by the National Statistical Institute. Sir, villages in your Ram Rajya are facing the greatest poverty in the last 4 decades. But the government is fooling the people by manipulation and hiding of data. If they release the data, that the people will know the real picture of our country. Unemployment is another issue that the propaganda makers are hiding under the blanket. More than half of the working age population is out of the labor force in India. What was our promise? What was your promise? A government that promised 2 crore new jobs a year, 8 crore in 4 years, has generated precisely 18 lakhs jobs in that time. Sir, no doubt our Prime Minister is a dream seller. Agriculture has become a death game for the poor farmers in our country. The absence of supporting system from the government, such as subsidies, credits, etc., has pushed more than 3 lakh farmers into suicides. Take the example of another scheme, the much-tutored Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, started in 2016. Astonishingly, main fundamental problems and issues remain almost the same in both the old crop insurance schemes and also the new PMFBY. CAG has spotted huge gaps in PM Fasal Bima Yojana and other crop insurance scheme, with just 45% of all claims made under PMFBY. So far, the scheme is huge failure. While rupees 10 lakh crore of corporate debts have been written off, only 10% of farmers gain from loan waivers. The government is standing with whom? Farmers or corporates? The 7.5% hike in subsidies for food, fertilizers and petroleum is also hiding the facts. According to the 15% subsidies announced last year, food, fertilizers and petroleum. There is a cut of rupees 1,000 crore for food and 413 crore for fertilizer in the current budget. What is about Make in India? It is not Make in India, it is Selling India. Modi government has pungent for selling for our PSUs, including our Mahatma BPCL. MSME is another sector neglected by the government, which has borne the maximum burn of demonetization, misadventure and the suboptimal GST implementation. Sir, is another joke giving pension under Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Mandan to the workers after 32 years. More than 82% of the workforce is employed in the unorganized sector in India, as noted by the International Labour Union. There is estimated 40 crore workers in the sector. The average life expectancy of an Indian is 68. Again, a casual worker who works under precious conditions will have an average life expectancy such lesser than that. How many would be alive to receive the government pension after 32 years? An example of Modi government duplicity is visible in the allocation for the much publicized Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao program. Funds for this program have been cut from an already embarrassing rupees 255 crore to just rupees 100 crores. The important midday meal scheme has seen an increase of just rupees 51 crore compared with the last year's expenditure. In real, this means an actual decline, having crores of school-going children. What is the attitude of the government towards the SC, ST and Dalits and minorities? Our social segment worst hit by the policies of government. They are in the field of fear everywhere. It is a charge for corporates. Diversion of funds in the name of banking recapitulation is another tricky game of the NDA government in favor of the corporates. In reality, all the banks are under debt crisis due to the non-performing assets. Some of the country's biggest banks are reporting losses with the lakhs of crores of gross non-performing assets, NBS, amounting to about 5% of the country's GDP. This has cost due to the non-payment of loans given to the corporates. Last year, 5 lakh crore rupees have been earmarked for the banking recapitalization. This year, it has cost 10 lakh crore. Sir, all the promises of the government is therefore at an eyewash to fool the people. Through manipulated and inflated data, it hides the grim realities of the ground, and this government is another example of how crony capitalism could worsen the misery of the common man. One request, I have one request, sir. All the other members are requested that the MP LADS fund may be hiked at least 2 crore rupees in an assembly constituency. So I conclude my speech.
Thank you. Shri Danish Ali ji, जरा संक्षेप में भूमिका छोटी, come to the point straight.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, sir, allowing me to speak on the supplementary demands on grants. देश में जो आर्थिक माहौल है वो बहुत ही गंभीर है। जब इस कृषि प्रधान देश में 31 किसान रोज आत्महत्या कर रहे हों, जो डाटा है, तो देश में कितना विकास हो रहा है ये किसी से छुपा नहीं है। आप लोग, अभी तो मैंने सभापति महोदय शुरू भी नहीं किया कि ट्रेजरी बेंचेस से जो है रनिंग कमेंट्री शुरू हो गई। क्यों परेशान हो जाते हैं जब भी मैं खड़ा होता हूं? जब भी मैं किसानों की यहां बात करता हूं, दलितों की, वंचित समाज की बात करता हूं, तो ये ट्रेजरी बेंच के लोग जो हैं और अपनी बात ये परेशान हो जाते हैं।
बोलिए बोलिए।
सभापति महोदय, मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं कि आप जो यहां पर सरकार है आज, सबका साथ, सबका विकास की बात करने वाली हमारे आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में सरकार है। लेकिन जीडीपी का क्या हाल हुआ? अब जीडीपी 4.5% रह गई। अभी एक साथी ने कहा है, माननीय सांसद ने, कि सुब्रमण्यम स्वामी साहब ने कहा कि 4.5% झूठ बोल रहे हैं, केवल 1.5% है। मैं उनकी बात पर कभी यकीन नहीं करता, लेकिन कभी कभी कोई आदमी ठीक बात भी कर देता है। तो उन्होंने 1.5% बताया, इनके खुद बीजेपी के सांसद हैं। बैंकों का क्या हाल हुआ है? एनपीएस कितने हैं? जो बैंक घाटे में थे, जो बैंक सही चल रहे हैं, उनको मर्ज कर दिया। अब क्या होगा कि जो सही चल रहे थे उनको भी डुबाने का काम ये सरकार करने जा रही है। प्रधानमंत्री फसल बीमा योजना एक फ्लैगशिप प्रोग्राम है इस सरकार का। मैंने जब रिव्यू मीटिंग में मैं गया, दिशा की बैठक में अपने क्षेत्र में, तो पता ये चला कि ये फसल बीमा योजना जो है, इससे किसानों को कोई फायदा नहीं होता। ये केवल जो इंश्योरेंस सेक्टर है इस देश में, जो मल्टीनेशनल इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज हैं, उनको अल्टीमेटली फायदा पहुंचाने की ये स्कीम है। मैं जिला वाइज उसका आंकड़ा दे सकता हूं कि किसानों से प्रीमियम के नाम पर कितना वसूल किया गया, सरकार ने कितना शेयर दिया और रिटर्न में किसानों को क्या मिला। मैं उस डिटेल में नहीं जाना चाहता। मैं आपसे सिर्फ इतना कहना चाहता हूं, मैं सभापति जी आपसे सिर्फ इतना, आपके माध्यम से सिर्फ इतना कहना चाहता हूं, जब सच्चाई बोली जाती है तो दर्द होता ही है, उसमें कोई बात नहीं है। बोलते रहिए। मैं सिर्फ ये जब सच्चाई बोली जाती है तो दर्द होता ही है, कोई बात नहीं। ये सरकार मेक इन इंडिया की बात करती है, लेकिन मेक इन इंडिया में क्या हो रहा है? जो यहां पर बन रहा था, जो प्रॉफिट मेकिंग पीएसयूज थे, उनको भी डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट करने की जारी है। बीपीसीएल को बेचा जा रहा है, एयरपोर्ट्स को प्राइवेटाइज किया जा रहा है। यहां पर एक आप ही के आदरणीय वरिष्ठ मार्गदर्शक सांसद डॉक्टर मुरली मनोहर जोशी जी की रिपोर्ट थी पब्लिक अकाउंट्स कमेटी की, कि दिल्ली एयरपोर्ट में कितना घोटाला हुआ, उस रिपोर्ट तक को ये नहीं देखी इन्होंने। उसके बाद भी और एयरपोर्ट जो है ये मतलब प्राइवेटाइज कर रहे हैं। मैं आपसे के माध्यम से सिर्फ इतना कहना चाहता हूं कि ये माननीय सभापति महोदय, मेरी पार्टी का भी कुछ टाइम है। मैं उसी हिसाब से आग्रह कर रहा हूं। डिमोनेटाइजेशन हुआ, जब नोटबंदी इस देश में करी माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने, तो बड़ा सब लोगों को लगा कि हाँ शायद कोई बड़ा क्रांतिकारी कदम, कि नकली जो पैसा है, नकली नोट है, वो इसमें सब खत्म हो जाएगा। पता ये चला कि 99% से ज्यादा नोट वापस आ गए। वो तो जो लोग लाइन में लग रहे थे आरपीआई के सेंटर्स पे, उनको लाठियों से भगाया गया, वरना 100% से भी ज्यादा आ जाते। पता चला असली के चक्कर में नकली भी अंदर आ गए। अभी भी कितने आए नहीं मालूम मुझे। मैं उसका क्या नतीजा हुआ, पूरी देश की इकोनॉमी जो है वो नोटबंदी के चलते जो है वो गड़बड़ा गई। सबका साथ सबका विकास की बात करते हैं, सबके विश्वास की बात करते हैं। मुझे ये बताइए कि जो शेड्यूल कास्ट, शेड्यूल ट्राइब्स की स्कॉलरशिप से आपका क्या एलोकेशन है एससी, एसटी और माइनॉरिटीज की स्कॉलरशिप में? सभापति महोदय, मैं उत्तर प्रदेश से आता हूं। उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर पहले एससी, एसटी को स्कॉलरशिप मिलती थी, उनके एडमिशन डायरेक्ट होते थे, कॉलेजेस में पैसा जाता था। इस वर्ष जो है एससी, एसटी के एडमिशन नहीं हुए स्टूडेंट्स के, इसलिए क्योंकि स्कॉलरशिप नहीं आई। आपने माइनॉरिटीज के लिए एक मदरसा मॉडर्नाइजेशन की स्कीम भारत सरकार की है कि उसमें जो है भारत सरकार जो है अपना शेयर देगी उर्दू टीचर्स का, लेकिन वो पैसा केंद्र सरकार ने उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार को नहीं दिया। अकेले मेरी कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में ऐसे हजारों उर्दू टीचर्स हैं जिनके घर जो है घर में चूल्हा नहीं जल रहा। माननीय सभापति जी, मैं आपसे आपके माध्यम से सिर्फ इतना ही आग्रह करना चाहता हूं कि आप ठीक है किसानों को ये कह रहे हैं डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट स्कीम में किसानों को किसान को आप दीजिए, लेकिन जो किसान की असली समस्या है, किसान को उसकी फसल का वाजिब दाम दिलाइए। किसान को 3,000 और 6,000 जो देते हैं ना, वो किसान उस 6,000 में उल्टा और 60,000 कर्जा लेकर के अपनी खेती बोने का काम करता है, इस विश्वास पे कि जब मेरी फसल आएगी तो उसका मुनासिब दाम मुझे सरकार दिलाएगी, बाजार से मिलेगा। लेकिन जब उसकी फसल आती है ना तो सरकार और ना ही बिचौलिए जो मार्केट में बैठे हैं।
ऑनरेबल चेयरपर्सन,
अभी माननीय सांसदों की अभी लंबी सूची बाकी है, तो इस चर्चा के लिए सदन की सहमति हो तो 1 घंटे का समय बढ़ा दिया जाए। ठीक है, 1 घंटे का समय बढ़ा दिया जाए फिलहाल। ठीक है।
Some of the honorable members referred to situation in Kashmir and the steps taken recently. Sir, the revocation of special status of Jammu and Kashmir does not only injure and violate the fundamental principles of Indian polity, but amount to unilateral breach of the pledges made in 1947, 1952 and 1975, that is Kashmir Accord, Delhi Accord. It violates the fundamental principles of federalism. The decision also tramples upon the Constitution. It was expected that once the Constitutional Bench of the Supreme Court had decided to examine the constitutional validity of all the steps, the government will put things on hold and allow the Honorable Supreme Court to examine the matter and wait for its decision. Be that as it may, the decision of 25th August has been marketed on untruths. I will not say lie because that may not be, strictly the parliamentary tradition. Now, one of the honorable members said that now CBI is there. CBI was all along there. We had 2 police stations of CBI all along there right from 1950, 56. One of the honorable member said that now university is in Ladakh. We had already university in Ladakh, and it is Vice Chancellor was Mr. Fulsung, someone from Ladakh. And they say that now discrimination is over. We had already Ladakh Hill Development Council headed by someone from Ladakh running the administration of Ladakh. Same way, Jammu had share of its opportunities. And no, so all the this was marketed by all the untruths. Now let us come to the, because it was in detail referred to one of them. Now, Mr. Matar said that liberty does not start with Dr. Abdullah and end with it. It is not a question of Dr. Farooq Abdullah only. It is a question of 10 million people who are without internet facilities, without phone prepaid facilities for last more than 4 months. See, Article 21 does not only promise animal existence, but a quality life. And quality life you cannot conceive of without internet in the modern days. Second is that tomorrow it is birthday of Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah, 5th December. I am told reportedly that even district administration has allowed a few people to go and pray at his mazar. See, this kind of normalcy. Now let me come to the subject. Sir, let me come to the subject. We have been promised 8,000.
Masood sahab.
No, what about Mr. Adruddin? Did not he mention about the situation? So I have a right to answer and respond.
Speaker sir, even though the honourable member is entitled to put across his view, and though it is not related to the debate that we are having, but we should not be misled by what somebody says. CBI jurisdiction was there, but after the UTI comes into being, that rider of taking consent is not there. You would recall just 2 years back, we had a very notorious Kathua rape case, which was telecast all over India through all channels. It enraged the conscience of the entire Indian nation, but the then government refused to refer it to CBI. That is one difference between then and now, that the arrangement has been put in place after 31st of October. I'm telling you, I'm not contradicting anything else. I'll just put the record straight on technical points. Secondly, as far as the internet is concerned, it has been time and again retreated by the Honorable Home Minister in both the houses that it is because of certain restrictions like internet that many of the untoward incidents could be averted. And I tell you how. I'll give you two incidents. From Lakhanpur, which is the border district between Jammu Kashmir and Punjab, the border town, there were militants on the run who were being chased by the forces. Because of the absence of the mobile network, and this is also half-truth, internet has not been suspended in the Jammu region, only mobile network is suspended. People are using Wi-Fi, and that is what is common practice these days. The moment youngsters enter into a mall or a corporate office, they immediately ask for the password. If it doesn't, automatically switch over. So because of the absence of the mobile network, these militants who were under chase lost their way because they could not have coordinates. They have a mechanism. This militancy, being sponsored by Pakistan, is following a pattern, and therefore they got liquidated. Similarly, there was another incident 2 months back when there were militants on the run from Kishtwar. The honourable member hailing from that place would recall that there was a very serial killings happening in Kishtwar over the last 1 or 2 years. First there were 2 BJP workers killed, then there was another social worker killed. So far they could not be apprehended. Finally, when those killers were nabbed, they were on the run. They reached a place called Batot, and when the militants were, when the forces were chasing them, because of the absence of the mobile network, they could not find their coordinates, and therefore, in desperation, they tried to stop a car. This car was being driven by a youngster who was very fast. He drove away, went to the nearby CRPF camp, and the CRPF camp then started chasing them. I'm giving you evidential facts which you can check. The CRPF camp chased them. They again lost their way. In confusion, they entered into a small street and entered into the house of a person who happened to be one of my booth workers. Luckily, thereafter, the person was rescued and they were liquidated. All this has happened in the interest of the control of the militancy, and there is evidential proof. Since 5th of August, it has been by and large a violence-free season, and I think one of the most peaceful festive seasons in the last 20-30 years. We had Eid, we had Ramadan, we had Independence Day, then we had the Eid. Now, if the pain is that of some of the leaders being under arrest, there is also a view in the section that this peace has persisted because they have been under arrest. And this is not even house arrest. When Congress put Sheikh Abdullah under house arrest, I am sure the members would bear me out. No. Chacha, ye karni hai, zaruri. No, because, see, a point has been raised. No, I am concluding now. I am concluding, but I am entitled to put the record straight. I have to put the record straight. When I am entitled to put the record straight, I would rather say, no, Adhir bhai, I am concluding by, Adhir, I am concluding by just, Yes. Yes, you have right and I have right to put the record state. Adhirda, I am now concluding. I am concluding with just, I am now concluding with just two sentences. I am just concluding with two sentences. I would rather say, I am concluding. No, I am not. Let me conclude in two sentences. I would rather say that Amit Shah, I would rather say that Amit Shah is one of the most kind-hearted Home Ministers India has seen. He has violated the definition of jurisprudence, putting these people under house arrest in their own houses. Look what Congress party did when Sheikh Abdullah was put under house arrest. He was his party's patriarch. He was sent 2,000 kilometers away to Kodaikanal. That is called house arrest. That is the jurisprudence definition of house arrest. Where is this house arrest? I think Amit Shah has been very kind. अभी कुछ नहीं हुआ, अभी वो घर में बैठे आराम से. So I think no, these allegations are misplaced. These allegations are misplaced, and whatever restrictions, there are visuals every day in the newspaper. The Sunday market is so crowded. The Sunday market is crowded. Now the problem is, now see the issue.
Now please, मसूदी साहब चलिए स्टार्ट कीजिए. बैठिए. मसूदी साहब बोलिए.
Allow me to complete. Sir, allow me to complete. First it is.
Please, nobody. You are very learned person. Very learned person. Please, demand for बोलिए.
I am just putting the record straight. No, the member has tried to mislead the house. The member tried to mislead the house. The member has tried to mislead the house. No, I have the right to.
चेयर से परमिशन से बोल रहे हैं. ही इज ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर. ही कैन इंटरवीन. नो प्लीज बैठिए. आप बैठिए. मसूदी साहब प्लीज. हो गया.
ऑनरेबल सर,
हो गया.
Now.
Sir, अब बैठिए तो.
Sir, now it is. Now, sir, it is not question. It is not question of see. It is not question. It is entire. It is entire. It is entire population, including 1.5 million students who are without net facilities. And by denying them net facilities, they are not entitled to. They can't access Prime Minister's scholarship scheme and things like that. Now, I will come. Now, sir. Now they have now 8,000.
मसूदी साहब बैठिए. एक सेकंड. ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर. अब
सर, मिनिस्टर इज ऑल्सो.
रोक सकते हैं जितनी बार चाहेंगे. नो. This right is with chair. Please don't intervene.
He is also a member of this house.
Please.
He has got all right to intervene, and he is intervening. What is wrong in it? Has he not got right?
आप बैठिए अधीर बाबू. You are not permitted. अधीर बाबू, you are not permitted. Please sit down. Please sit down. बैठिए.
Sir, I 1 minute. Only 1 minute.
Only honorable minister.
1 minute.
Only honorable minister. Please cooperate.
Sir, मेरा एक रिक्वेस्ट है. Let him complete his speech. After that, I request you to give some 5 minutes to Dr. Saab. हो गया ना अभी बैठो जी. अभी हो गया बैठो.
चलिए. हो गई बहुत डिबेट. शुरू करिए. हाँ ठीक है. आ गया ना मैं. बोलिए.
Let me complete, sir. Just another 5 minutes only.
हाँ बोलिए 5 मिनट बोलिए.
Sir,
आपको ही बुलाएंगे.
Now let me come to the appropriation bill.
दो बातें हैं माननीय सदस्य प्लीज. एक मिनट.
Out of 8,000. Now 8,000.
एक मिनट में माननीय सदस्यगण सब अपनी बात रखें. आप चाहेंगे जितना सदन चला देंगे, लेकिन आप ही थोड़ी देर बाद कहेंगे अब माननीय मंत्री जी का जवाब होना चाहिए. इसलिए आप शुरू करें. आज क्लेरिफिकेशन नहीं हुआ किसी का. जो बोलना है पहले बोल लेना.
आज मंत्री जी, आज किसी का क्लियरिफिकेशन नहीं होगा, इसलिए क्लियरिफिकेशन का जवाब मत देना आप।
See, now it is said that a provision for 8,000 crore rupees is made for Jammu and Kashmir. It is far less than that was what was promised and the dreams that were shown to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. In any case, it does not, whatever are the projected figures do not reflect the concerns of Jammu and Kashmir. And to illustrate, civil aviation, Avantipura Airport in South Kashmir stands transport to civil authorities, no provision is made for that. Ministry of Food Processing, Jammu and Kashmir produces 2.5 million metric tons of fresh food. There is infrastructure only for 5% of the fresh food produced. No allocations or no demands under for Ministry of Food Processing and no provision for Jammu and Kashmir. Same way, health and family welfare. In far-flung areas, we don't have any facility for basic health amenities and to meet acute health problems like dialysis. We don't have it. People end up spending 2 to 3 lakh rupees from middle level families on dialysis without any source to support. Then Ministry of Road and Transport. Jammu and Kashmir highway remains blocked for 150 days in a year. 4 tunnels are under, 1 is under construction and 3 are proposed. We don't have any promises made, any locations made on road transport and highways. Again, tourism is backbone of Jammu and Kashmir. We don't get any commitments, fresh commitments, adequate allocations in the bill. Nothing is earmarked to promote tourism in Jammu and Kashmir. And Ministry of Women and Child Development. Same way, it is almost a non-starter. We had 7 commissioners there. I mean, one of the areas untruths on which the 5th August decision was marketed was that they don't have a Women's Development Commission, they don't have a RTI, Information Commission, they have nothing. We were pushed to Stone Age. 2 months before that, Jammu Kashmir was projected as the place where there is maximum women participation. They are touching new heights. It was only 2 months thereafter there was U-turn and telling us that you are living in Stone Age and we are now going to push you on path of development. In any case, 7 commissions were wound up, which were in existence. Honorable Minister knows. Nothing has been provided. Again, railways, a promise was made for Baramulla, Kofara railway line, Jammu Push railway line. Only a promise, nothing has been achieved on ground and no provision in this bill. So these are key areas, should have been thrust areas and focus should have been on these areas in the current bill. But unfortunately, Jammu and Kashmir does not get the attention that was promised when 5th August this revocation of special status was announced and tried to be marketed on untruths, on projecting that all these facilities are not available in Jammu and Kashmir and we want to push Jammu and Kashmir on the path of development. So this, in a way, from the viewpoint of Jammu and Kashmir, is disappointing, and we expect Honorable Minister to respond to all this once we get the reply to whatever has been projected. Sir, I would take this opportunity to make a request for a discussion on Jammu and Kashmir. We have been demanding, even Honorable Prime Minister had promised on day 1 that we will go for a short discussion on Jammu and Kashmir. Time and again we have been making a request. I would take this opportunity to make a request to Honorable Speaker to ask the government agree to a short discussion so that all these points, those are now to be, dilated upon by Honorable Minister, can be dealt with in a dispassionate manner, in an objective manner, fair manner during that discussion. And again, tomorrow is birthday of, we say Baba Ikom, we call him father of the nation, Sheikh Muhammad Abdullah. I hope it has been reported, the unconfirmed reports are that district administration is not allowed even a small group of people to go to Mazar. This is the level of normalcy that is being projected, to just offer prayers.
After all, he was the leader who went all the way to Security Council, UN Security Council. And Dr. Farooq Abdullah is the person who was deputed to Geneva to defend human rights record of the country. And Umar Abdullah is the person who was Secretary Minister, Foreign Minister under
बजट के अलावा माननीय सदस्य आप शून्यकाल में बोल लेना, ठीक है माननीय सदस्य?
Only this request.
सर बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया सर। जब अग्रवाल जी चेयर पर बैठे थे, जब इशू चल रहा था,
इन्होंने वो भी 2 मिनट बोल लेंगे, नहीं इनको भी बोलने दे 2 मिनट, फिर उनके बाद उनको बोलेंगे। जम्मू कश्मीर पे डिबेट शुरू हो जाएगी। नहीं
सर, इन्होंने सिर्फ क्लैरिफिकेशन, सर 2 मिनट में क्लैरिफिकेशन करते हैं, ओनली 2 मिनट सर।
1 मिनट सुरेश जी आप 2 मिनट और बोल लें, माननीय सदस्य 2 मिनट और बोल लें जम्मू कश्मीर पे।
I mean, honorable minister did reply to whatever I said earlier. There is no occasion for him to reply again. But my request was that this cannot be a substitute for short discussion, because that is going to be a frank and fair discussion, a dispassionate discussion where everybody will have a chance. But now, first is that in the name of normalcy, whatever is being stated, that is far from reality. And arrest of political leaders across all the political parties. How can you just? And second is internet facilities for the students, 1.5 million students and hoteliers and businessmen. They cannot communicate with the rest of the world. They cannot receive orders. I mean, business is affected badly. Those were my words.
अध्यक्ष महोदय, केवल 2 मिनट में जस्ट टू पुट दी रिकॉर्ड स्टेट, बिकॉज आपने जैसा ठीक कहा, ये कोई शॉर्ट टर्म चर्चा नहीं है और इसको बनाना भी नहीं है, हमने हाउस की मर्यादा के अनुकूल चलना है। पहली बात तो ये कि ये कहा गया कि कोई एक्ट नहीं लगे थे। वास्तविकता ये है कि भारतीय संविधान के 854 एक्ट हैं। देयर आर 854 सेंट्रल एक्ट्स, आउट ऑफ विच लेस देन 200 were implemented in Jammu Kashmir, the erstwhile state, and that too in truncated form. आपका जो पब्लिक आपने कहा सारे लगे थे, जो आपका करप्शन एक्ट था वो आपने खुद बनाया था नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस का। अभी जो प्रिवेंशन ऑफ करप्शन एक्ट है जिसकी हमने अमेंडमेंट डीओपीटी नहीं लाई थी, आप ठहर जाइए, अब आप बोलने दीजिए 2 मिनट। मैं तथ्यों के आधार पर बोल रहा हूँ। द अमेंडमेंट वॉज ब्रॉट इन दिस हाउस वेयर इन ब्राइब गिवर इज ऑल्सो नाउ कल्पेबल टू पनिशमेंट एंड देर इज अ टाइम लाइन फिक्स्ड ऑफ 2 years। ये सब नहीं था। इसके अतिरिक्त आपके यहाँ चाइल्ड मैरिज एक्ट नहीं लगाया गया। नाउ टेल मी इन विच पार्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड which section of society will have objection to child marriage act? नहीं था। डाउरी एक्ट आपके यहाँ नहीं था। राइट टू फ्री एजुकेशन आपके यहाँ नहीं था। जो लगाए गए थे वो बाय डिफॉल्ट ट्रंकेटेड अपने ढंग से लगाए गए। जो आपको सुविधा थी जो आपने लगा दिए। इंदिरा जी के काल में इमरजेंसी में एक आया विधानसभा को 6 साल करने का, 42-43 अमेंडमेंट। आपके सरकार थी शेख अब्दुल्ला ने उसको तुरंत 6 साल कर लिया। जब मोरारजी भाई ने उसको रिवर्स किया 45-46, तब आपने नहीं किया। सो यू वर एक्चुअली मिसयूजिंग दिस प्रोविजन। अब आई ये बात शेख अब्दुल्ला साहब के जन्मदिन की। मैं उसमें नहीं जाऊंगा, दैट्स अ होल पॉलिटिकल इशू। इट वाज एन आर्बिट्ररी सब्जेक्टिव डिसीजन बाय द नेशनल गवर्नमेंट टू डिक्लेयर शेख अब्दुल्ला's birthday as well as his death anniversary as holidays. I am not raising objection to that, but simultaneously there was demand to have a holiday on the death anniversary of Shama Prasad Mukherjee, who had died in Kashmir. There was a demand to have a holiday on the birthday of Maharaja Hari Singh, who had signed the instrument of accession. So all these decisions were taken by pick and choose which suited a particular political party. We'll talk about it in the short-term discussion. आपके यहाँ अनलॉफुल एक्टिविटी एक्ट अब लगा है। आपके यहाँ आप कह रहे हैं सीबीआई का पहले और अब का फर्क ये है कि अध्यक्ष महोदय आपके स्मृति में होगा, अभी 2 साल पहले कठुआ कांड हुआ। हाँ, वो मैंने बोला आपकी सरकार वहां दूसरी पार्टी की थी, लेकिन वो कश्मीर केंद्रीय सरकार थी, उसको रेफर नहीं किया। नाउ सीबीआई हैज अ डायरेक्ट ज्यूरिसडिक्शन। अब पीड़ा इस बात की हो रही है कि जब सेंट्रल एक्ट सीधे सीधे लग जाएंगे तो वहां की जो कश्मीर केंद्रित राजनीति होगी या जो भी पार्टी होगी वो अपनी सुविधा के अनुसार सीबीआई को रेफर नहीं कर पाएगी। जहां तक आपने कहा हाउस अरेस्ट का, मैं इस बात ये कहकर के बात समाप्त करता हूं क्योंकि मैं आई डोंट वांट टू इंटरफियर विद द डिबेट ऑन द डिमांड ऑफ ग्रांट के दिस आई वुड अगेन रिपीट Amit Shah ji is one of the most kind chief home ministers we have ever seen. क्योंकि जब शेख साहब को नेहरू जी ने, इन स्पाइट ऑफ हिज पर्सनल बॉन्डिंग, सेंड हिम फॉर अ हाउस अरेस्ट, ही वाज सेंट 2000 किलोमीटर अवे टू कोडाईकनाल, इसलिए एंड फॉर 11 इयर्स, इसलिए और जहां तक हालात का ताल्लुक है, आप रोज देख रहे हैं विजुअल, जिस प्रकार की संडे मार्केट, इट्स सच ए बिजी संडे मार्केट हैपनिंग इन श्रीनगर. आई डोंट थिंक दीज विजुअल्स रिक्वायर्ड टू बी कॉन्ट्राडिक्टेड. दे स्पीक द पिक्चर, स्पीक द स्टोरी. थैंक यू.
श्री असाउद्दीन ओवैसी जी.
थैंक यू सर.
एक लाइन में बोले दीजिए.
अरे
सर, मैं एक प्रस्ताव लाना चाहता हूँ. जम्मू कश्मीर में कोई पॉलिटिकल लीडर को जाने नहीं दिया जाता. यूरोपियन एमपी जाते. मेरे तरफ से एक प्रपोजल है, स्पीकर की नेतृत्व में ऑल पार्टी डेलीगेशन एक बार जम्मू कश्मीर चले. स्पीकर की नेतृत्व.
असाउद्दीन ओवैसी. जब मुझे जाना होगा मैं चल जाऊंगा, चिंता मत करो. असाउद्दीन ओवैसी.
सर.
असाउद्दीन ओवैसी.
थैंक यू सर. Sir, thank you, sir. Sir, I start from from where the Honourable Minister left. In this supplementary demand for grants for the Union Territory of J&K, 8,820.62 crores have been allocated. Now, this amount itself, this pitiable amount, exposes the hollow claim of this government to develop the valley. And I'm sure the minister knows that what the the Kashmir Chamber of Commerce and Industry said, that since the removal of 370, economic loss of more than 10,000 crores have happened. I'm sure you have forgotten that, but it is the statement of Jammu Kashmir Chamber of Commerce that economic loss of 10,000 crores. Sir, I am not yielding, sir. I'm not yielding. I'm not yielding. नहीं, सच्चाई चुपती है, मुझे मालूम. हाँ. Now coming to this another point, disinvestment. I want to know from the Honourable Minister that the disinvestment target was 1,05,000 crores. You have only realized 17%, sir, as of now. 17%. Thirdly, sir, I strongly oppose this infusion in IDBI bank to recapitalization bonds. IDBI is a black box. LIC is a piggy bank. And this government had forced LIC in January 2019 to spend 21,000 crores to buy 51% of IDBI. Now, why IDBI is because of scams of Siva Sankaran. You know, you are not able to pay the compensation of states, rightful share of the states in GST, which is constitutionally mandated, but you are so much interested in IDBI. I don't know why. I mean, what is there in IDBI that the states cannot get their share of compensation? I strongly oppose this, sir, of giving infusion of IDBI of 4,557 crores. Fourth point, sir, I want to know, Honourable Finance Minister, when she replies, the revenue collection April 2019 to October 19, that is 7 months period, government collected 9.3 lakh crores. Now the budget estimated is of 20.8 lakh crores in 1920. What magic wand do you have that you will collect this remaining amount? Because last year, sir, in the same period, the amount collected was 11.5 lakh crore from November 2000. 11.5 lakh crore has to be collected. Now you come to the center net tax revenue, sir. To meet the budget targets, government needs to collect 9.7 lakh crore in the period November 19 to March 2020. In the same 5-month period last year, the government could collect only 6.6 lakh crore. Who are you fooling? When now it is 4.5, last year 6.6 lakh. Now you are saying from November to March 2020, you are going to collect 9.7 lakh crore in center net tax revenue. Corporation tax, sir. The budgetary targets, government is to collect 4.9 lakh crore from November to March 2020. Same time last year you only collected 3.9 lakh crore. These are data. I know you don't like the truth, but data. Income tax, sir. To meet the target, the government needs to collect 3.2 lakh crore in the period from November 19 to March 2020. In the same period last year, sir, this revenue collection only 2.3 lakh crore. Now come to GST, sir. To meet the budget target of government needs to collect 3.2 lakh crore in the period from November 19 to March 2020. In the same period last year, you could collect only 2.5 lakh crore. Now you are saying you will collect 3.2 lakh crore, and you are also foregoing 4.5 lakh crore in corporation tax.
I want to know, are you going to go to the World Bank and beg for this revenue shortfall, or again you're going to fall on LIC to make up your revenue shortfalls and dressing up your fiscal deficit? That is the point, sir. Now, LIC, sir, when the Modi government came to power, LIC since the inception of 1956, the cumulative investment in public sector was 11.9 lakh crore. Mubarak ho aapko, fantastic, you've done a great job. At the end of financial year 2018-19, it jumped to 22.6 lakh crore. I mean, from 56 to 2014, it was 11.9 lakh crore, and within 6 years, you have utilized LIC as 10.7 lakh crore. Amazing, sir. Now, last point, sir, about the terms of reference of 15th Finance Commission, sir. This is a very strong point, sir, I want to make over here. That how is it that the terms of reference of the 15th Finance Commission, the government is saying that defense and internal security allocation will be looked into. You are violating the fiscal federalism. What has the states got to do with the defense expenditure? It is the union government. What has the states got to do with sharing of this security aspect, sir? Allocation of defense is the union responsibility. That is why I said again the spirit of parliamentary control over expenditure allocation, sir. I hope that when the Honorable Minister stands up, she will definitely talk about the question which I have put to her. And lastly, I'm really surprised that you say your minority minister made a public statement that when it comes to minorities, everyone will get 1 lakh people will get 10 lakh people will get scholarship, 5 lakh. What is there? In fact, you have cut down 180 crores from pre-matric, post-matric, merit means, and all these scholarships. So what you are saying is not matching up by your budgetary allocation, sir. I end by saying, lamhon ne khata ki, sadiyon ne saza pai.
माननीय सदस्यगण अब 2-2 मिनट में अपनी बात को कह दें। क्यों माननीय सदस्य? ले कर देना, ठीक है ना? ले करने की इजाजत दे दूंगा, जो बाकी रह जाएंगे, ठीक है ना? लेकिन 2-2 मिनट में सब ज्ञानी माननीय सांसद 2-2 मिनट में अपना ज्ञान बोल दें। अब डॉक्टर मनोज राजौरिया, 2 मिनट मनोज जी।
धन्यवाद सभापति महोदय जी। हाँ, अध्यक्ष महोदय जी, आपने मुझे एप्रोप्रिएशन बिल नंबर 3 2019 पर बोलने का अवसर दिया, लेकिन अब 2 मिनट की बात है कि अभी तो मैं प्रार्थना करूंगा कि आप उसको बढ़ाने का श्रम करें। और सबसे पहले तो सदन की ओर से अच्छा सबसे पहले तो इनका जन्मदिन का आज आपका भारतीय तिथि के अनुसार भी जन्मदिन है, तो उसकी भी आपको बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। आज भारतीय तिथि के अनुसार जन्मदिन है, उसकी शुभकामनाएं। माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, सभापति महोदय, अध्यक्ष महोदय जी, मैं सबसे पहले तो वित्त मंत्री जी को बधाई देता हूं कि उन्होंने 21,246 करोड़ का जो डिमांड्स फॉर ग्रांट्स का जो बजट सदन के समक्ष प्रस्तुत किया है, इसमें सरकार के सभी पहलुओं का ध्यान रखा है, चाहे वो स्वास्थ्य क्षेत्र हो। प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में जिस प्रकार से आयुष्मान भारत के माध्यम से देश के 50 करोड़ लोगों का 5 लाख रुपए तक का स्वास्थ्य बीमा दिया गया था, राजस्थान की कांग्रेस सरकार उसको अभी तक लागू नहीं कर रही है। मैं आपके संरक्षण में ये बात आम जनता के हित से जुड़ी हुई है, इसलिए आपसे आग्रह करूंगा कि इस विषय को महत्वपूर्ण गंभीरता से लें कि जो प्रधानमंत्री जी की नीयत है कि प्रत्येक गरीब परिवार को मुफ्त चिकित्सा सुविधा मिले, उसमें राजस्थान सरकार सहयोग करे और आयुष्मान भारत जल्द से जल्द वहां पर लागू करे। माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय जी, चाहे डिफेंस सुरक्षा सर्विसेज हो, चाहे फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज हो, मोदी सरकार ने प्रधानमंत्री मुद्रा योजना के माध्यम से गरीबों को, युवाओं को रोजगार देकर पैरों पर खड़ा करने का काम किया है। इसी प्रकार प्रत्येक जिले में लोन मेले लगाए हैं। साथ में ही इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी की जहां तक बात आती है, उसमें भी इस बजट में बहुत अच्छा एलोकेशन किया है। देश में हमारे राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष और गृह मंत्री श्री अमित भाई शाह जी के नेतृत्व में धारा 370 और अयोध्या मुद्दे को लेकर गृह मंत्रालय ने जिस तरीके से कुशलता पूर्वक देश की आंतरिक सुरक्षा और बाहरी दुश्मनों से इस देश की रक्षा की है, उसके लिए भी मैं उनको बधाई देता हूं और हमारे वित्त मंत्री जी को बधाई देता हूं कि हमारे गृह मंत्रालय को जो आवश्यक बजट था उसमें उन्होंने कोई कंजूसी नहीं की। माननीय सभापति महोदय, मैं मेरे क्षेत्र के 2 विषय महत्वपूर्ण हैं।
ये बजट नहीं है डॉक्टर साहब,
एक मिनट सर,
ये सप्लीमेंट ऑफ डिमांड है। बजट पे आप रखना
नहीं, वही चीज है। मेरे क्षेत्र में प्रधानमंत्री जी ने 2 मेडिकल कॉलेज दिए हैं।
देखो माननीय सदस्य, ये तो अपन को प्रशिक्षित करना ही पड़ेगा सांसदों को कि बजट क्या है और डिमांड क्या है। ये तो होना ही पड़ेगा इस संसद के अंदर, नहीं अगले सत्र में तैयारी करा देंगे।
4 घंटा कभी भी सप्लीमेंटरी डिमांड में कभी भी डिस्कशन नहीं हुआ है,
नहीं होना चाहिए।
वही कर रहे हैं सर,
इसलिए आपने
सर वही कर रहे हैं सर, वही कर रहे हैं।
4 घंटा हुआ है सर, अभी रिप्लाई करवा दीजिए।
सर सबने किए।
हाँ ये कहो आप बात,
मैं वही कह रहा हूं।
सर सबने किए। माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय जी, मेरे क्षेत्र में 2 जिले आते हैं, धौलपुर और करौली। प्रधानमंत्री जी ने दोनों जिलों को मेडिकल कॉलेज दिए, उनके लिए भी मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं। साथ दोनों जिलों को मेडिकल कॉलेज दिए हैं, 325 करोड़ रुपए दिए हैं। सभापति महोदय जी, मेरे राजस्थान की 2 महत्वपूर्ण मांगे हैं और एक मेरे संसदीय क्षेत्र की है। ईस्टर्न राजस्थान कैनाल प्रोजेक्ट, वो एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण मांग है। साथ में ही मेरे संसदीय क्षेत्र की धौलपुर करौली गंगापुर सिटी रेल लाइन का एक विषय है। मैं आपसे आग्रह करूंगा कि वित्त मंत्री जी इस पर भी ध्यान देंगे। बहुत सारे विषय थे, बहुत सारे बजट के लिए बातें थी, लेकिन आपने 2 मिनट की सीमाएं बांधी। उसमें जो भी बात थी अपने संसदीय क्षेत्र से और राज्य से संबंधित भी आपके समक्ष रखी। आशा करता हूं कि आप हमें अगली बार और समय देंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
राम मोहन नायडू।
धन्यवाद अध्यक्ष महोदय। सबसे पहले हमारी तरफ से और इस सदन की तरफ से आपको जन्मदिन की बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। आप इसी तरह हमेशा मुस्कुराते रहे और स्वस्थ रहे सर, ये हमारी सबसे एक इच्छा है। सर मैं अकेला स्पीकर हूं, अपने पार्टी से थोड़ा सा समय दे दीजिए। I'd like to use this opportunity, Honorable Speaker sir, to request the demands of grants for the state of Andhra Pradesh, which have been pending for the last 6 years since the time of bifurcation. And any member who is present here from the previous Lok Sabha also would remember that whenever a parliamentarian from the Andhra Pradesh state was speaking, that this was the priority of their agenda. And it is still an agenda, it has become a tradition which we are not able to break off even today because the central government has not done its part of this deal, sir. The assurances that have been promised on behalf of the AP Reorganization Act are still pending the way they were pending in the year 2014. That is why I reiterate my demands, and the most important one of that is the demand for special status, sir. The demand for special status has been given by the party which is in power right now back in the day, and they have spoken about it. They have assured the people of Andhra Pradesh that it will be granted when they come into power, and it is still pending right now. I take this opportunity to demand that as soon as possible the state of Andhra Pradesh should be granted the special status, sir. And let me assure this House, the government and the Honorable Finance Minister also that there is no division of voice in the people of Andhra Pradesh, any color, any caste, any community, any creed, any religion, any party. All the members of the state of Andhra Pradesh are univocally asking for the special status demand, sir. Other than that, educational institutions were promised. They were all granted, but that is not enough, sir. The granting of institutions is not enough. The fund to build these institutions is also necessary, and the deal was to finish these institutions in 10 years. But 6 years have already passed. 4 years are left, and it is the responsibility of the central government to finish them before this term. So proper roadmap and planning should also be provided by the central government in finishing these educational institutions, sir. And also railway zone. Railway zone has been promised. A South Coast railway zone has been established. But for starting this railway zone, sir, the budget allocation is very, very important. I've spoken with the railway officials. They said it will be put in the supplementary demand for grants, but it is nowhere seen, sir. So I request again through the floor of the House that proper allocation for the new railway zone to the state of Andhra Pradesh also be given, so the initial infrastructure that is needed for the start of this zone be given. And also Polavaram project, sir, 72% has been completed. Our leader and also the former Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Chandrababu Naidu Garu, took pride and commitment in finishing this project, sir. 72% of this project has been finished. The funds should continue right now, sir, and proper release of funds should also be ensured that timely completion of this project be done for the state of Andhra Pradesh. Other than that, sir, 1 minute I'll finish, sir. Other than that, the capital, Amaravati, It is a very prestigious project, not just for the state of Andhra Pradesh, for the whole country also, sir. It is a futuristic capital. It is a capital of world-class facilities and all this, sir. And the Reorganization Act specifies that the funds will be allocated by the central government for the creation of this capital. That is still pending, sir. Other than this, the backward district funds, where I also come from, for the Srikakulam district, it was supposed to get an allocation of 50 crores per year. It was given for the first 3 years, sir. 7 districts in Andhra Pradesh which were notified as backward districts, but for the next 3 years it was stopped. I request that that fund also be released. Highway projects, sir. Many of the projects interlinking different various parts of the state to Amravati, the capital, those are also pending. And one project in my constituency also, sir, the NH16 six-way project, that also funds are being deficiently spent, sir. I request that that also be speeded up. And there is the Kakinada Petrochemical Complex and other prestigious projects which are mentioned in the AP Reorganization Act. Everything should be fulfilled by the central government. I request the Finance Minister reassure through her speech that everything that is required to the fulfillment of the AP Reorganization Act will be done in a timely manner, and all the assurances will be fulfilled by the central government, sir. Now, regarding the supplementary demand for grants, sir, couple of issues, sir. Just 1 minute, sir. 1 minute, I'll finish. I'm the only sir. 1 minute. Sir, 1 minute, sir. 1 minute. Sir, 1 minute, I'll finish, sir. 1 minute.
चलो 1 मिनट
1 minute, sir.
1 मिनट में 30 सेकंड
Regarding the supplementary demand for grants, more than
देर से सप्लीमेंट्री डिमांड पे क्यों नहीं बोल रहे थे?
वो आंध्रा का सप्लीमेंट्री डिमांड था, सर. ये नेशन का अभी.
नो
1 minute, sir. फिनिश कर रहा हूँ, कंक्लूड ही कर रहा हूँ. Sir, regarding the supplementary...
30 seconds.
30 seconds, sir. Regarding the supplementary demand for grants, when we have listened to all the speakers who have spoken before me, everyone was mentioning regarding the crisis that the country is facing right now and the economy, the state of the economy. That is why, rather than looking at temporary solutions, I think it is time we look at permanent solutions on how to get the economy back on track, sir. And unemployment is being a very serious issue for the youth today. I hope the central government takes necessary steps to curb unemployment and also to improve the investments that are happening, to improve the micro and medium level industries that are facing a lot of difficulties since demonetization. These are some of the important aspects that the central government should look into, sir. The figures that are being spreading around, let it be GDP, let it be inflation and all these, there are very, very dubious ways of looking at it. Different figures are coming out. So the central government should give a proper picture, a clarity, because unless we understand the problem, we can't think about the solution, sir. So the central government should come out clean on the figures that are there right now. There should be no dubious figures, and it should clearly pave a way for the future, sir. There is 2 months' time for the budget also, and all the suggestions that have been given by all the different members should be taken seriously, sir, and proper measures should be taken so that the India gets back on its economic track, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
सर, मेरा 12 सेकंड हो गया, सर. धन्यवाद स्पीकर महोदय.
आपको तो अंडमान निकोबार की मांगे रख दो सीधी.
सबसे पहले तो बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, आपने मुझे सप्लीमेंट्री डिमांड के ऊपर बोलने का मौका दिया, और मैं आपको पूरे अंडमान निकोबार की जनता की ओर से आपका जन्मदिन का बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं, सर. आज हमारे माननीय फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर हमारे सामने है, सर. जब मैंने सप्लीमेंट्री डिमांड ऑफ ग्रांट को देखा तो अंडमान के बारे में कुछ भी नहीं मिला, सर. तो मेरा मिनिस्टर महोदय से ये रिक्वेस्ट है, डिमांड ये है कि अंडमान निकोबार को 5,000 करोड़ के आसपास का बजट मिलता है, सर, 1 साल में. उसको बढ़ा के मैडम कम से कम 10,000 करोड़ किया जाए. 10,000 करोड़ इसलिए किया जाए मैडम क्योंकि लास्ट वीक में मैं देख रहा था जब दमन दीव और दादरा नगर हवेली का दोनों यूटी को मर्ज किया गया, और दोनों सांसद ने एक बात ये कहा कि 7,000 करोड़ का रेवेन्यू वो जनरेट करते हैं. ये खुशी का बात है कि जो रिसोर्स उनके पास है उससे वो 7,000 करोड़ का रेवेन्यू जनरेट करते हैं, और अंडमान निकोबार हर साल 5,000 करोड़ के आसपास सेंटर से लेता है. बल्कि अंडमान निकोबार का जो पास में इतना क्षमता है कि अगर फिशरीज, टूरिज्म और अंडमान सी में जो गैस है, इसको सही तरीके से हम लोग अगर कैश करें तो हर साल 10,000 करोड़ हम लोग सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को दे सकते हैं. तो 5 साल में सर 50,000 करोड़ हम सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट दे सकते हैं, और जो 5,000 करोड़ हमको मिलता है वो भी 25,000 पकड़े तो 75,000 करोड़ सर अंडमान निकोबार देश को दे सकता है. जो हमारा प्राइम मिनिस्टर का 5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी का जो बात वो करते हैं, इसमें अंडमान निकोबार मिनिमम 75,000 करोड़ कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकता है. एक बात सर. दूसरा बात सर, सप्लीमेंट्री डिमांड को क्यों बढ़ाने का बात किया जा रहा, क्यों हम डिमांड कर रहा है कि देखिए 1,47,000 मेट्रिक टन फिशेज अंडमान सी में है, उसके लिए आज बजट में 10.99 करोड़ खाली एलोकेशन किया गया। इतना बड़ा फिशरीज का हमारा स्कोप है और 11 करोड़ रुपए अगर आप देंगे सर तो उससे क्या होगा। इस तरह बहुत सारे इश्यूज है। आपने समय बहुत कम दिया, मैं जाना नहीं चाहूंगा, 1 मिनट में अपना बात खत्म करो सर। 0 ओवर में तो आप 2 मिनट देते सर, कम से कम आज तो 2 बात बोलने का मौका दीजिए सर। अंडमान में बहुत सारे इश्यूज है। सबसे पहला बात है अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट, बहुत बड़ा इशू है सर। तो मैं चाहूंगा आपके थ्रू सरकार को कि अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट अलाउंस दिया जाए सर। ओल्ड एज, विडो, हैंडीकैप जो लोग हमारे हैं जिनको सिर्फ 2,000 रुपये भत्ता मिलता है सर, महंगाई को देखते हुए उसको 5,000 रुपया दिया जाए सर। जो आंगनबाड़ी वर्कर है, आशा वर्कर है सर, जो प्री प्राइमरी टीचर्स हैं उनको सर 3,000 रुपया, 9,000 रुपया मिलता है, उसका सैलरी बढ़ा के 15,000 रुपया किया जाए सर। बिकॉज ये सारा चीज बेसिक डिमांड है। आज एक गरीब आदमी को जीने के लिए सर इतना पैसा का जरूरत है। एक इंसान, एक आशा वर्कर 3,000 रुपये से अपना परिवार कैसे चलाएगी सर? तो उसको अपना परिवार को देखना, घर का किराया देना, कभी बीमारी हुआ तो इससे आप समझते हैं सब। जब मैं ज्यादा समय नहीं लेना चाहूंगा, तो इस तरह का जो इश्यूज है। और एक बात मैं कहना चाहूंगा, 84% अंडमान निकोबार फॉरेस्ट कवर एरिया है सर। आज वहां पे अगर एक फॉरेस्ट कॉलेज खोला जाए तो देश के लिए अच्छा होगा। चारों तरफ हमारा पानी है सर, वहां में मेरीन बायोलॉजी और फिशरीज के कॉलेज खोला जाए तो अंडमान के लिए बहुत अच्छा होगा, देश के लिए अच्छा होगा। तो ये तरह जो इश्यूज है सर, काफी ऐसे इश्यूज है जिसके ऊपर हमको काम करना है। इसके लिए पैसा का जरूरत है। मैं सरकार से आपके माध्यम से ये रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि वन टाइम आप इन्वेस्टमेंट वहां पे कीजिएगा, उसके बाद में अंडमान निकोबार सेल्फ सफिशिएंट हो जाएगा। सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का पैसा को जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगा। आपने बोलने का मौका दिया, थैंक यू सो मच सर।
श्री N.K. प्रेमचंदन जी।
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, this is the first batch of supplementary demands of the second NDA government, by which rupees 21,246 crores of rupees, for which sanction is required, approval from the Parliament is required. Sir, out of the 21,246 crores, the cash outflow is 19,000 crores, by which the major demand is demand number 46, by which rupees 8,820 crores of rupees, that is 40% of the total supplementary demands for grant is for the newly formed Union territories of Kashmir and Ladakh. And demand number 19 regarding defense, 2,000 crores of rupees we fully approve and fully support. And also demand number 29, 2,500 crores towards the recapitalization of the state-owned insurance companies, for which also I fully support. Regarding 4,557 crores of rupees for the capital infusion of the IDBA, in which also the matter has to be clarified, as rightly the Honourable Learned Member has just cited. Sir, regarding the Union budget for the financial year 1920, it was presented in the month of July and stamped by the Parliament in the month of August. And subsequently, it was 27.86 lakh crores of rupees has been stamped by the Parliament for spending by the government. Sir, out of which from April to October, 7 months, you have already spent 59.5% of the full year target you have already spent. So I would like to know from the Honourable Minister, the budget was passed in August. Within 1 month, you see that we have, day before yesterday, we have discussed about this corporate income tax has been reduced, by which 1,45,000 crores of rupees corporate tax is deducted. Now you are coming with an additional expenditure of 21,000 crores of rupees as supplementary demands for grants. So my question is that over the criticism which we have made at the time of discussion, course of discussion of the general budget, it was that the budget for 1920 miserably failed in addressing the concerns of economic slowdown as well as the issues with concerns which are expressed in the economic survey 2019. Those two criticisms are being ratified now, because the economic slowdown, though the minister and the government is not accepting, they are saying that there is no recession, but some issues are there. So I would like to know, I am confining my speech to 2 points regarding the GDP and the fiscal deficit. Mr. Nishikant Dubey is not here. He has made a new philosophy regarding the GDP. I am not going to the details. Sir, if you see the first quarter of the GDP, it was 5%. In the second quarter, it has come down to 4.5%. Sir, GDP numbers have been declining for 7 consecutive quarters. It is declining.
The Honorable Minister, the day before yesterday, when replying to the bill, has elaborately discussed about the last year, 2018 also, there was a decline, but subsequently it was increased. But during the last 7 consecutive quarters, this is being declining, and it will be more worsening in the third quarter. That is the economic experts are saying. In the year 18-19, second quarter, it was 7.1%. So all this shows that we have lost the economic momentum in our country, and the fiscal position of both the union and the state governments are worrying with no clear solution in sight. That is the problem which we are facing. Sir, coming to the second point regarding the fiscal deficit. Sir, kindly see the fiscal, it is only numerical, we are all common men, we are not economic experts. The madam, when presenting the budget, expected a target of 3.3% was the fiscal deficit. After all your estimated stimulative measures, it is being expected that it will go up to 3.7 to 3.8%. It is not my opinion. Most of the economic experts in their research and study, they have stated that it will go up to 3.7 to 3.8%, because 1,45,000 crores corporate tax deduction and additional spending of 21,000 crores of rupees. Sir, my specific question to the Honorable Minister is how you are going to address the fiscal deficit target envisaged in the budget for the year 1920. Sir, regarding the tax collection, the data presented in the parliament showed that direct tax collection plunged 17% in October. This means that tax collection growth slipped further from 4.7% in the first half of the year against the expected growth of 17% for the full year. See, an alarming situation as far as the tax collection is concerned. And GST collection is also not encouraging. So how are you going to address the basic issue of the fiscal deficit? That is the basic question which I would like to know. One more point. And what is the government is finding a solution in disinvestment? Sir, BPCL, I would like to seek a specific clarification response from the Honorable Minister. The UPA government has invested 20,000 crores in BPCL. The NDA government subsequently last year invested 20,000 crores. Total 40,000 crores of rupees have been invested in BPCL. Now the BPCL 100% disinvestment proposal is there. How that will be legitimately explained? After investing the huge money of the nation or the wealth of the country is being invested in the BPCL, now it is for 100% sale. Madam, I would like to say that selling of the PSU is not an option to address the physical deficit and for the growth of the GDP, and please review the policy of the disinvestment of BPCL and other 11 public sector undertakings. Otherwise, this will be the selling of the national wealth. So please review the position. With this words I conclude. Thank you very much, sir.
लगातार मेरा नाम जो है इस चर्चा में लिया जा रहा है सर। भारत एक ऐसा देश है जो कि दुनिया को रास्ता दिखाता है। पूरी दुनिया में जो कन्वर्टिबिलिटी है रुपये का, वो डॉलर में चला गया 1971 के बाद। लेकिन भारत को जब अपने दोस्त रूस की मदद करने की हुई, जब यूएसएसआर जो है पूरा टूट फूट गया, तो भारत ही एकमात्र देश था जिसने रुपया और रूबल की कन्वर्टिबिलिटी स्टार्ट की। पूरी दुनिया, अमेरिका, आप अमेरिका परस्त, आप कम्युनिस्ट राज्य से आते हो, लेकिन अमेरिकन थ्योरी को जब आप अपनाते हो तो उसने ईरान पर और इराक पर जो है बहुत बड़ा सैंक्शन इंपोज कर दिया सर। ईरान के साथ पूरी दुनिया कोई भी बिजनेस करने को तैयार नहीं थी। भारत ही एक ऐसा देश था जिसने कि रुपये के साथ ईरान को साथ दिया और अमेरिका की बात नहीं मानी। पूरी दुनिया में अमेरिका की जो थ्योरी है जीडीपी की, उसके खिलाफ एक माहौल है और लोग चाहते हैं कि वो थ्योरी बदले, और इनका माइंडसेट ऐसा है, कांग्रेस का, कम्युनिस्ट का और अपोजिशन का, जो उसको बदलने के लिए तैयार नहीं है। और मेरा आग्रह इस सदन से है और आपसे है सर कि जीडीपी के बारे में एक बार चर्चा हो जाए और दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी हो जाए। धन्यवाद सर।
निर्मला सीतारमण जी, एक मिनट इनको ही बोल लेंगे।
अभी थोड़ी करवा रहे हैं। एक मिनट मैडम,
एक मिनट बोल लो
मैडम। सर, ये सदन में
एक मिनट बोलने के लिए
सदन में
इनको क्लेरिफिकेशन
चर्चा की चलते
मैडम, क्लेरिफिकेशन किसी का मत देना आज। मैंने व्यवस्था दे दी है, आपके जवाब के बाद क्लियरिफिकेशन नहीं होगा।
सर, ये सदन में चर्चा के दौरान मैं हमारे अर्थ मंत्री जी को, वित्त मंत्री जी को, जिनका नाम निर्मला है, उनको निर्मला कही थी। सर, हमारे ग्रामर में मैस्कुलिन जेंडर, फेमिनाइन जेंडर है। मुझे ये निर्मला बोलने का पहले क्यों बोल रहा हूं मैं, इसको भी मैंने बयान दिया। निर्मला जी मेरा बहन जैसी है, मैं उनका भाई जैसा हूं। अगर भाई की कोई बात पे मेरा बहन का अगर चोट पहुंचे तो मैं खेद प्रकट करता हूं। और दो बात,
ये बड़े
सर, एक मिनट सर, ये सदन में बहुत सारे चर्चा हो रहे हैं कश्मीर और अलावा बहुत सारे। मैं ऑलरेडी ये प्रपोजल दिए हैं कि एक ऑल पार्टी डेलीगेशन हमारा स्पीकर के नेतृत्व में कश्मीर जाना चाहिए। हम देखना चाहते हैं कि कश्मीर की हालत क्या है। दूसरी बात, अभी प्रेमा चंदन जी प्राइवेटाइजेशन की बात की है, डिसइन्वेस्टमेंट की बात की है। देखिए, आज रोड प्राइवेटाइजेशन हो रहे हैं, एयर हमारा सिविल एयरलाइंस वो भी हमारा प्राइवेटाइजेशन हो रहे हैं। अभी रेल में भी प्राइवेटाइजेशन की दौर शुरू हो गए हैं। आज की हालत रेल की इतना बुरा है मैडम, आपको उनका जानकारी नहीं है कि ऑपरेटिंग रेशियो 140%, मतलब रेल को 140 रुपया खर्चा करना पड़ता है 100 रुपया कमाने के लिए। ऑपरेटिंग रेशियो 140% रेल की अभी, और रेल 150 ट्रेन को प्राइवेटाइज कर दिया है। एयरलाइन प्राइवेटाइज, रोड प्राइवेटाइज, रेल प्राइवेटाइज। कभी ये ना हो बताए कि हमारा सरकार भी प्राइवेटाइज हो गए हैं। तो इसीलिए हम चाहते हैं कि हमारे ये रेल को, ये आप इसको प्राइवेटाइजेशन को रुकने का इंतजाम कीजिए। ये सारे हिंदुस्तान की जो आर्थिक हालत तो जर्जर है, अंडर द लीडरशिप ऑफ प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी जी।
धन्यवाद जी। स्पीकर सर, धन्यवाद। मैं पहले सभी जो सांसदगण है 19 ऑफ देम जो इस सप्लीमेंट्री डिमांड्स फॉर ग्रांट के विषय में चर्चा में भाग ली, उन सबको मैं धन्यवाद कहना चाह रही हूं। और बहुत सारे विषय एक सदस्य जो उठाए उसी को दूसरी तीसरी सदस्य उठाने में मैं विषय को जवाब देने के लिए कोशिश करती हूं। अगर आपके आदेश पिछली बार मुझे याद है, अगर सदस्य जो प्रश्न पूछा और वो सदस्य अभी जवाब के समय नहीं है, उनका जवाब देना आवश्यक नहीं है, मैं उसको पालन करना चाहती हूं। इसीलिए 19 लोग हैं, 19 का नाम एक स्पीडीली मैं पढ़ लेती हूं। शशि थरूर जी, राजीव प्रताप रूडी जी, it is not in a particular order of the speaking. सेंथिल कुमार जी, सौगता रॉय जी, विनायक राउत जी, मिथुन रेड्डी जी, भर्तृहरि मेहताब जी, रंजीत रेड्डी जी, सुप्रिया सूले जी, निहाल चंद जी, तिरुनावुकरसर जी, पीके कुन्यालन कुट्टी जी, आरिफ जी, दानिश अली जी, हसनैन मसूदी जी, असादुद्दीन ओवैसी जी, मनोज रजौरिया जी, राममोहन नायडू जी, एनके प्रेमचंद्रन जी, आखिर आदिर रंजन चौधरी जी भी ज्वाइन किए। सर, इसमें स्पेसिफिकली डिमांड, सप्लीमेंट्री डिमांड फॉर ग्रांट्स, it does come once or even twice in a financial year. This is the first batch of supplementary grants.
माननीय मंत्री जी, मैं बीच में एक मिनट बरा जाए, मैं बीच में टोकूंगा ठीक नहीं, इसलिए अभी समय का व्यवस्था देता हूं। आज सदन का समय आप सबकी सहमति हो तो माननीय मंत्री जी के जवाब समाप्ति तक बढ़ाया जाए। माननीय मंत्री, विधेयक पास होने
अप्रोप्रिएशन बिल है ना, उसके बाद
बिल भी पास करना है, अप्रोप्रिएशन
बिल समाप्ति तक पास होने दो, बिल समाप्ति तक। ये टेक्निकल शब्द किसी ने मुझे बताया था, समाप्ति तक बोला है, पारित हो नहीं हुए तो पता नहीं है ना।
So this is the first batch of supplements, sir. Sorry?
He's present.
Oh, you're present now. So the first batch of supplementary demands for grants of 1920 is what we are being discussing for the last couple of hours. In this, about 64 grants and 2 appropriations are being discussed. Now 64 grants out of 100. So not all of them are on discussion. In these demands and appropriation, authorization is being sought for gross additional expenditure of 21,246 crores, 0.55 crores. Some come under the capital and some come under the revenue expenditure. Just 1 minute, I would like to elaborate on the 3 heads under which supplementary demands normally come. The first is where you're talking about cash supplementary, the demand for supplementary under the cash outgo heading. And the second is that which comes under the technical supplementary. And the third is token supplementary. So always, as always, and forever, in our scheme of budget and budget process, supplementary demand for grants, which normally derive from the budget which has been passed, normally not beyond the budget, is under these 3 categories only. Now, when under the 3 categories, why do they get categorized under 3 categories? I just want to broadly tell you that when you're talking of the cash outgo, under which comes the J&K, if I take that example of that 8,820 crores, the allocation now comes under a different heading altogether. Although we are dealing with the 14th Finance Commission's awards, and this is the last year of that award, the award amount is as decided by the formulation given by the 14th Finance Commission. The reason why we have to now state it is, let me please dispel this notion that this is all is being given for J&K. Not at all. Under the 14th Finance Commission award, this being the last year, whatever has been given for Jammu Kashmir as a state now has to also go through a different head or a line which puts J&K as a union territory with an assembly, which puts Ladakh as a union territory. So what was given as a state for J&K, that united J&K, both Ladakh and J&K, is now got to go through a different head for J&K as a union territory and for Ladakh as a union territory. And honorable members will obviously be aware, and I don't want to say it here in so many different words, but union territories draw from the center's pool, and states get it directly from the consolidated fund because they are devolved directly post the Finance Commission's awards. Now, in the course of 14th Finance Commission's tenure itself, it so happens that the state has come to being, the union territories have come to being from October 31st, from 31st October. So the devolution should happen to it even within the term of the 14th Finance Commission, which has already dealt with it as one state. So naturally the line or the head under which it has to go has to be redone. And therefore we are now putting it under the supplementary demand, not that we are just giving only 8,000 and the stories ended. The need for it to come is because, as you all honorable members are aware, any small change in the budgetary heads, vertically or horizontally, will have to come for approval in this honorable house. And therefore Jammu and Kashmir comes in here. So let me please remove this thought from all your minds that this is all that we give to J&K, they need a lot more. Obviously they need a lot more, and that will now come through the 15th Finance Commission's recommendation, like everybody else is going to get it through the 15th Finance Commission's recommendations. This is the last year. So that's one of the reasons why the amount is what it is. It is part of what it was in the larger budget of July, and we have now only appropriated and sought to appropriate it through a different head because the status is different. It's no longer a state, it's a union territory. That is one explanation. Now, recapitalization also comes under, for the insurance company, also comes under this net cash outgo head. under the first heading, which under the supplementary demands for grants. So does the pay and allowances, and so does the space project. I was a bit hurt to hear Professor Saudgata Roy tell the whole House, do you need to give ISRO the space program now that they've failed Chandrayaan? Professor, you're fairly familiar how experiments work, especially in frontier sciences. Do you think one hard landing is a sign of a failure? Entire world admires ISRO. I wouldn't want a senior member like you to please come and stay in this House, which feels extremely proud, and I'm sure going back home you'll feel extremely proud about ISRO, to say why should you give this money? That's a different story. That's a different story. But then to deny them, that's no way of, I don't think anyone, and I'm very sure your intention is not to punish the ISRO. Your intention is also to say, please do it next time better, but that doesn't mean that we should stop the money that which should go to them. I'm sure the entire House and you too, heart of hearts, agree to it, so I'll allow that. So then, if this is the way we explain what goes out under cash supplementary, which is the first heading under which we come for any supplementary demand for grants. The second is the technical supplementary, under which we've quoted 2,249.37, which goes to the local bodies as grants, 1,000 crore, and the other one which goes for the LPG for poor households. Now, why does the technical supplementary happen? Technical supplementary happens when there is a change from one to another within a particular ministry. If there is some expenditure here and moves it over to a, which I would call technically, not so technically, horizontal movement from one heading to another within a particular scheme. It could be revenue, which was voted for revenue, moving to capital, which is voted for capital, or the other way around. So the need for us to come to the House for an approval or ask for a supplementary grant clearance from this House is because the heading changes there. Revenue to capital or capital to heading, revenue. And the final one is the token supplementary within a particular grant and within the same section, which is within the same silo. If it moves from one heading to another, then this token supplementary happens. So that is where 1.28 crores are being sought here for approval under the token supplementary. So supplementary demand for grants is looked at from these three different silos. This is nothing beyond what July budget has given us, and you have Honorable House has cleared for us. So we are not coming to say, here we give additional, there we don't. It's not that. It is only a reallocation on very many heads and recategorization, because of which the House has to be informed, House's permission has to be sought. So I just want to make that absolutely plain when we're talking about supplementary grants. Now I just move from one to another on the various questions which very many members have asked. July budget. Only after 5-6 months you come with a change in allocations, and your revenue is all not being up to mark. I just want to give you this particular data. Oh, before that, the first speaker, Shashi Tharoor, mentioned even for fisheries you've not even done anything, whereas you promised that you would give a separate ministry. A new Department of Fisheries has been started, and in the BE of 2019-20, 804.75 crores have been allocated for them. And as on date, that department, which is specializing only in fisheries, has expenditure already cleared for 291.99 crores. Not just that we have not given, we've given allocated money, money is also getting spent. And questions about revenue receipts, Questions about what is the kind of expenditure? I just want to give you a figure which is relevant up to October 2019. These are all estimates, but actual expenditure is what I'm giving you, subject to correction. Revenue receipts, 15.06% growth. And up to 2019 October, it's 9,07,634. So please let us, at least in this House, take the data that it is going up and not coming down. Revenue expenditure, which is important, especially when I've heard a lot of honorable members saying, government should spend, consumption needs boost. You have to give consumption a stimulus. Revenue expenditure has gone up by 13.61%, and capital expenditure has also gone up by 13.7%. So government and its expenditure is not remaining still. In order to boost consumption from the government side, we are really moving ahead with clearing the bills, paying all the dues, and so on. So consumption from that point of view and the concerns consumptions, I would like to sort of place. Yeah, I'll come to that. I'll come to that. I'll come to that. I'll come to you. I'll come to that particular question. No, that's all right. That's all right. Then this issue of Manrega. Oh, you've cut down. Rural consumption is very poor. Rural demand is lying low. You have to do. On that, even 2 days ago, while responding to the corporate tax bill, I said how much has the loan outreach by the public sector banks, both in October and in November, have extended to the various categories of people who wanted. But then you said that's loan. Manrega's wages. What are you doing about it? In fact, you've cut. No, we have not cut. And I'll give you the data for it. Actually, Manrega has received funds like never before. Should I start from 12-13? 33,000 crores B, 29,387 crores RE, actuals 30,273.60, 12-13. So in that order, it was 33,000 crores, again 13-14, 34,000 crores, 14-15, and so on. What is it now? 60,000 crores. All right? And you would say that is BE. I'll go to the RE and the actuals of the previous year. 2018-19, which is just the last financial year. 55,000 crores BE. 61,084 crores RE. Actual. 61,829 crores. Actual. All right? I'll read this out for all the years. But you also said, my state Kerala. My state Kerala. And later I heard Supriya ji also say Maharashtra. I just managed to call out urgently something. 2013-14 in crores. Kerala, 1,277 crores. 2018-19, 2,355 crores. All right. This year, no, workers not getting it. I'll come to that also. How DBT is actually making it reach the actual workers and not the dalals. Dalals are not getting it. I agree. Okay? Kerala. No dalal, no cheating. Actually, it goes to the worker. No dalal anywhere. Okay. Just 2019-20, the current year, which ended in March, all right? Am I right now? Yeah. As on 4th December, the data that we've collected in 2019, Kerala, again, what was it in 13-14? 1,277. What is it as on 4/12/2019? 2,199. Okay. Now Maharashtra, 2013-14. All right, fine. If you're convinced, I'll lay it here. You can always take it. Thank you. Okay. So Manrega is better implemented, gets more money. Through DBT, it goes to the workers themselves. No dalal, and therefore, you be sure we are actually doing well on that. And let me also say this particular data, which will be of interest to all of us. Actually, the DBT, does it really mean that we're saving money? Are we not letting go any leakages unattended? No. Every leakage has been plugged. And what is the total savings since the time DBT has started getting implemented under different headings? One heading it would have started earlier, some other heading a little bit later. But on average, last 5 years, DBT is active. 1,41,676 crores is what we've saved by stopping leakages. And for that, by heading of the schemes, the data is available. I'll leave it on the table of the House for any member who will be interested. I'll give you all the record. I'll give you all the record. Money wouldn't go for sitting at home, sir. Money goes only when they're working. Okay. Then I go over to, again, Manrega. 2019-2020. During 2019-20, which is now, up to now, 6.2 crore individuals from 4.4 crore households have been provided employment. How many? 6.2 crore individuals this year have been given Manrega employment. And they belong to 4.4 crore households. I'm coming, sir. I mean, come on, listen, no, please. 169.71 crore person days. 169.71 person days of employment has been generated. 169.71 person days of employment has been created. So that's your Manrega performance. Now, I'm not member from Sendil Kumar Dharmapuri, Honorable MP, raised the issue about the AIIMS in Madurai. Union Cabinet approved establishment of AIIMS in Madurai at a cost of 1,264 crores in December 2018. The ministry has appointed RITES as the agency to carry out the pre-investment work. Work is going on. The project was approved and taken under the rolling plan by the Department of Economic Affairs for external development assistance under the JICA, which is the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, and that is the work going on there. As on 2019-20, an amount of 5 crores has been transferred by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare to AIIMS Madurai for the construction of the boundary wall. Expected preparatory survey work by JICA is expected to be completed by the first week of January 2020. That's just a status for you to be informed, because you did raise that question. And maybe Honorable Member Senthil Kumar again spoke about rural sanitation and wondered how many are still being used. They're all being constructed, but they may not be under use. The National Annual Rural Sanitation Survey of 2018-19 has found that 96.5% of all households having access to a toilet use them regularly. And therefore, let's not have apprehension about what has it been. All right? So then, I go back to... Don't challenge, create awareness. No, that's okay. Huh? Your constituency may be one among the several which are surveyed. Your intention and government's intention are not very different, sir, but this is not my survey. It is done by an independent agency. All right? I'm not here to inspect any constituency. You're the MP of that area. You will take care, I'm assured. You're the MP of that area. You will ensure that government's money, which is spent for the public cause of sanitation, it will have its right fruits. You're the MP. You're the elected person there. Take care that public money which comes from both center and state governments are spent properly. You're there, sir, representing all of us. All right? I'm sure you will talk in your committees, responsible committees about it. All right? Sir, I can't hear you, sir, please.
Continue your reply. He was already take his seat.
Yeah, I'll continue my reply. Thank you very much. That's very considerate. I'll go back to talking about the outreach, because concern is about rural demand, rural economy, money not reaching rural areas. I just want to highlight in November and October, MSMEs, NBFCs, corporates, retail, agricultural sector borrowers, all of them have been reached through the loans which were given to them. MSME loans total to 37,210 crores in October alone, 35,775 crores in November. So nearly 72,000 crores have been given only to MSME in those 2 months. NBFCs who will further lend to other customers, 17,163 crores in October, 25,005 in November. Then home loans, 12,166 crores in October, 15,088 crores in November. Vehicle loans, 7,085 in October, 4,003 in November. Education loans, 425 in October, 686 in November. Agriculture loans, 40,504 crores in October, 37,870 crores in November. And there are other loans. So totally, 2,52,589 crores in October was dispersed for all these headings, and 2,39,245 crores were dispersed in November. So rural areas, and these happened, as I said earlier, in 400 districts of the country, in the hinterland, not in metropolitan cities. There was also this concern that FDI inflow is all affected. You're not getting money. Professor, I remember very strong words. Fear everywhere. No investment will come. Yeah. Fear factor is fear. That's what you're saying. Fear everywhere. Yeah? Fear everywhere. Sir, if you permit, sir. If you permit, sir. ठीक है Sir, FDI inflows, sir. FDI inflows. I just want to tell you, first half of 18-19, there was 17. I'm talking about the net inflows. I'm not even giving the gross figures. Net inflows, $17 billion FDI, H1 of 18-19. H1 of 19-20, which is this year's first half, $20.9 billion. That was 17, and this is 20.9. Fear factor, Professor Saugata Roy, doesn't exist. So that is one figure for you, particularly about investment. Yeah, it can be 550 plus. I agree. It can be even more. Sir, capital infusion to banks happened, sir, and you are aware that I had announced it in the budget also, inclusive of IDBI. We had to give that money to the IDBI. I want to give a bit of a detail on it. So before I go, that's a bit of a long answer, but before I go to talking about IDBI, I want to talk about onions.
इतना लंबा सुनना है, पूरा सुनना है, सुना दो इनको।
Sir, so season-wise area and production estimates of onions as given by the Horticulture Division, Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Ministry as of 15/11, Honorable Ministers here, 15/11/19 are as follows. There has been definitely a reduction in the area of cultivation. Area in 2017-18 for the Kharif was 2.68 and in 18-19 it is 3.30, which is more. But in 19-20 it's come down to 2.60. So the area of production has come down. Now production quantity in 17-18 it was 44.08 metric tons, lakh metric tons. 18-19 it was 50.64. This year the first estimates, advanced estimates, is 38.87. There is a shortfall. Late Kharif also there is a shortfall. Acreage has come down from 1.63 to 0.81. And the production has come down 30.18 to 13.19. Drastic fall in the outfall in the late Kharif. And Rabi, 8.54 acre in 17-18, which was in 18-19, 8.23. I can't give you the acreage now because sowing has just started. And then, therefore, the assessments are yet to be received. So there is a reduction in the area of cultivation and also a reduction in the output. But then, wait a minute, I'm coming, I've not finished. I'm coming, I've not finished what steps we have taken. I'm stating the background and saying what kind of steps we have taken to ensure that onions reach the market. So,
बाजार में आग लग गए हैं।
ऐसे ही कर रहे हो अपने 10 साल की महंगाई देखो, पहले आंकड़े देख लेना एक बार।
अधीर रंजन जी को एक शब्द याद है, आग लग गई।
आदत है ना, आग लगाने का आदत है। 140 रुपया किलो, एक किलो प्याज की दर।
ठीक है
लोगों की जेब खाली,
Sir, the price stability fund, the price stabilization fund has been used, and therefore a buffer stock of about 57,302.90 metric tons of onions was built, and this was based on the Rabi harvest of April-May 2019. From Maharashtra, 48,184 metric tons, and Gujarat, 9,189 metric tons were procured for that purpose, out of which a quantity of around 26,842 metric tons, which is about 46.78% of procurement, was supplied to the various governments, agencies, cooperatives, and sold in various mandis through open auction during the period ending October 2019. So it's not as if we have not taken some steps. You have set some steps. I'm telling you some of the steps which we are taking. अरे मेरा पूरा सुनिए ना, पूरा सुनिए ना.
माननीय मंत्री जी के अलावा किसी का दर्ज नहीं हो.
So, a quantity of around 11,513 metric tons, which is again 20% of low quality onions, were disposed by the NAFED in local markets. I just want to give you the figures as a percentage also. Total procurement buffer stock position of Rabi based onions as on 2nd December 2019 is 57,372.90 metric tons. That is the total procured. Total storages of 56,000 and so on. So the steps which we have taken other than procurement, I want to let you know the distribution which is happening through open auction in mandis such as Kolkata, Bhubaneswar, Lucknow, Hyderabad, Chennai. Onions also supplied to states and other agencies for retailing, distribution and supply to Delhi NCR through Mother Dairy, NCCF and the NAFED and Government of NCT of Delhi for direct retailing at regulated prices have been distributed. I also want to say the export of onions have been banned by the DGFT's notification as of September 2019, 29 September, so it must have come into implementation at the fag end of September. Stock limits of onions imposed in September on that same notification 29/9/19, 100 quintals on retail traders and 500 quintals on wholesalers under Essential Commodities Act. So that has also been invoked. Government has decided to import or procure from open market 1 lakh metric tons of onions from surplus countries and regions. In this regard, you must have seen in the media, MMTC has already floated the tenders. So, NAFED...
All the measures you have taken does not have any tangible impact upon the market. It will take time. It will take time.
All right, sir. NAFED was directed to procure surplus onions from Rajasthan and other distribution centers and to send it to deficit states. So that activity is also going. Dispatch of onions from Alwar, Rajasthan, which I want to give you because that procurement has definitely gone to certain parts. Gone to Delhi, 28 truckloads have gone to Delhi, which is directly from Alwar. 442 metric tons have come from there. Bihar, 8 truckloads have gone. 263.03 metric tons have been sent from Alwar directly to Bihar. Jharkhand, 5 truckloads have been sent, 179.64 metric tons have gone to Jharkhand directly from Alwar. So there are many other propositions. MMTC is importing from Egypt. MMTC has placed an order from Turkey. They are also coming in. So I just want to let you know, that various steps have been taken for the distribution of onion in the shortage-ridden areas. This is some steps which I have given. There are many others which the concerned ministry will also speak about. Then Supriya ji also raised this question. Agriculture has not been included in the supplementary demand for grants. I just want to say that agriculture in the BE of 2018-19 was 46,700 crores, 18-19 BE. Whereas in the BE of 19-20, it has risen to 1,30,485, which is 250% increase for agriculture allocation between last year and this year. So I just want to draw Honorable Member Supriya's attention to this. I'm not sure if the member who raised this issue is around, but for the benefit of the House, without taking his name, as per your order, Speaker Saab, I will just respond. Allocation for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes are coming down. One member did say passionately. I just wanted to reply. Is he here? No, I can't see him. You're here. All right, fine. I just want to let you know, sir, scheduled cash, actuals of 17-18 budget was 49,492 crores in 17-18 for scheduled cash, which went to 56,618.5 in the BE of 18-19. In the RE of 18-19, it was reconciled to be 62,473.86. Just for you, before you ask me the question, I can see you waiting to ask me a question. These allocations are across all demands. Those number of demands in the budget are about 100. All put together is what I'm giving you, hence not of one particular scheme. All right, if that is in RE of 2018-19, BE of 2019-20, which is what is going on now, honorable members will be happy to know what was 49,492 crores in 17-18 has now in the BE of 19-20 gone up to 81,340.74 crores SP. This is only for scheduled caste. Now I'll come to scheduled tribes. 2017-18 actuals. 2017-18 actuals for scheduled caste, scheduled tribes. 31,913.72 crores. I will not go through the step by step, but BE 39,134 for the next year, 41,093 for the RE of 18-19. But what is it now? BE of 19-20. From 31,913.72 crores, it is now 52.884.82 crores. So SPs and ST allocations have only grown and grown substantially for member Ritesh, to be sure. All right. Now, you can always move on to something else. No? Okay, fine. Last 2 points. I finished onions. I have just the... Yeah. No, you can't now. Listen, since you've raised it, I'll finish this. IDBI. I'm sure all of us will like to hear this. IDBI, yes. क्योंकि 2008 से लेकर 2014 तक इनके सब फोन पे चला, इनको दो, लोन देते जाओ, चाचा, भतीजा, भाई, बहन, सबको मिला। जी, as a result, So, due to the aggressive lending from 2008 to 2014, gross advances of IDBI Bank increased from 82,664 crores to 2,03,376 crores. Rampant, मेला, सबको दे दो, ये हुआ. All right? Stressed loans, दूसरा देख लीजिए, अभी क्या हो रही है? 1 महीने के बाद इंटरेस्ट नहीं दिए तो कानूनन मीनिंग प्रूडेंशियल नॉर्म्स के तहत इंटरेस्ट नहीं दिए तो स्ट्रेस्ड लोन, फिर स्ट्रेस 1, स्ट्रेस 2, फिर एनपीए हो जाता है ना, हम सबको मालूम है. स्ट्रेस लोन्स वेर नॉट इवन रिकग्नाइज्ड एज एनपीए. छोड़ दिया, अरे हमारा है जी, छोड़ो, खाएगा पैसा, फोन लोन छोड़ दिया. IDBI's loans were all left without being categorized as NPA. Stressed accounts continued, the loans kept going. Under asset quality review, stressed loans were recognized as NPA transparently since after 2015. उससे पहले नहीं हुआ. And losses were provided for. अभी भी सब लोग पूछते हैं losses दे रही हो मतलब write off कर रही हो? Write off नहीं करते, मगर हिसाब किताब मेंटेन करने के समय any chartered accountant will know you have to provide for the books to be balanced. मगर उसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि उनको छोड़ देते हैं, उनको पीछे पड़ते हैं, उनके संपत्ति को जब्त करते हैं एंड उसको ऑक्शन करके उस पैसों को वापस ले आएंगे। मगर वो सब कार्यक्रम शुरू हुआ 2015 से, उससे पहले नहीं। आईडीबीआई का हालात के ऊपर इतने सारे लोग क्या बोलते हैं, क्रोकोडाइल टीयर्स शेड कर रहे हो? कैसे शेड कर रहे हो जी? सुनो वो, और सुनो और सुनो। As a result, gross NPAs of the bank rose from 12,685 crores NPA उधर से मार्च 2015 को इतना हमने रिकॉग्नाइज किया, 12,685 crores रिकॉग्नाइज किया 2015 में। वो बढ़ते बढ़ते कहां तक पहुंचा? 60,875 crores by September of 2018। IDBI की हालत। आप बार बार नहीं, एक मिनट। Oh professor, you can't, you will have to get an answer on that also। No। हाँ, ये प्रोफेसर जी का क्वेश्चन ये है कि 2018 मतलब आपके टाइम है, लोन तबका मैच्योर होते होते एनपीए बना हमारे टाइम में, मगर लोन देन आपका है जी, आपके समय का लोन है, वो बाद में आकर के एनपीए हुआ। ओके, फिर ठीक है, वो 4 hours, 1 minute, you can ask all that, you please sir। Yes, Supriya ji, sir, take quality if you permit me।
Questions I had. I appreciate everything that you're saying, but a lot has been said about the mudra loans. So my question to you, very humbly put, is that according to the data that is accessible to us, for about 53%, mudra was started by you, 53% of the loans are NPA, which is 4 lakh crores. This is what our महिला सक्षम है, उसको अपना मत वाला सबला है ये महिला। She doesn't need to be defended। And one more small question, since you talked about onions, I just have a small query that I appreciate that you managed getting onions from Egypt. I come from Maharashtra, which is the largest pool collector of onions. Why has the production gone down? A. B. Bharti Pawar, she's sitting right here, she represents Nasik, so she will agree with me. This is not a political point I'm making at all. But the onion prices, when they were rock bottom, is the time of duration you gave. Was that the reason that they did not get the right remitter of prices, the MSP was not good, hence was the production gone down? Because I take great pride in being an Indian and proud to be an Indian, which feeds every Indian's mouth. So why is the production gone down? I'm not happy eating Egyptian onions. Why should India do it? And we export rice, we export milk, so many products. We are the second largest rice producer in the world, and wheat. Why are we doing this? Isn't it a regressive step? If you could kindly clarify both the points about the mudra loan, which is NPA, as well as the onions, because the onion grower is the small farmer. The onion farmer is not the 20 and 30 acre one. He's the small farmer with less water. So he really needs to be protected, is my request.
In fact, मैं इतना लहसुन प्याज नहीं खाती हूँ जी, so don't worry। मैं ऐसे परिवार से आती हूँ जहाँ अनियन प्याज का मतलब नहीं रखते हैं। No, Honorable Member Supriya ji, I must say from 2014, I've also been part of some of the group of ministers which monitored the ups and downs in onion markets. Sometimes when there is a surplus of crop, we've also facilitated by giving support to those people who want to export it. I have overnight passed orders for helping with 5 to 7% assistance for exporting it. There are severe structural problems related to onions. One is we don't have scientifically advanced methods of storing. And I must appreciate the effort Nitin Gadkari ji, my senior colleague in the cabinet, has made He even went to the extent of getting the Baba Atomic Research Center to come and tell how through radiation we can remove the moisture content of the onion and be preserved it for a longer shelf life. Like that, several, Nitin Gadkari ji ka usme itna effort tha. 1 minute. So that is one of the things. So we need to have greater scientific storage facility for onions, and we have started working on it. And for
because you know, I know your stand on research for GE is of the government.
No,
they are not so keen.
Not every radiation, as much as I know, is harmful. Particularly for food items, particularly for perishable food items, there are scientifically accepted level which doesn't harm the human element. All that is kept in mind. Then also to give better storage capacities within that region, particularly. It's all right. Supriya ji is not my party, but still I hear her. Professor, don't worry. So the storage capacity, the type of storage, and also around Lasalgaon. I think most of us have heard of Lasalgaon, thanks to Nitin ji. Bar he has spoken to us about the fright that is in terms of onion capacities. So we are looking at ways in which we can improve the post-harvest capacities for onion. This year particularly, we've also had some of these districts undue weather conditions, flooding. As a result, the acreage has come down, and therefore I think we have to keep the context in mind and not, I would want to, matter of fact, all of us will have to look at the way in which onion, which is a very seasonal crop, which doesn't have a long shelf life, it is a perishable, truly perishable vegetable, so it's something on all of us will have to look at ways in which. So the last thing about IDBI, we have after the 4 hours about which I've repeatedly spoken, after the 4 hours, now improvement for onion.
तो जब ऑनियन की शॉर्टफॉल हो रहे थे तो प्रीएम्प्टिव मेजर के तहत तुरंत बाहर से क्यों नहीं आयात किया आपने? अगर ठीक तरीके से आयात करते थे तो इस हालत नहीं होते। और दूसरी बात, आप खुद कहते हैं कि बिचौलिया आ गए, जमाखोर आ गए, तो वजह क्या है कि बिचौलिया के चलते, जमाखोर के चलते, ये आपकी सरकार की जो रवैया उसकी कमियां की चलते, सरकार की कामकाज की कोई कमियां की चलते, बिचौलिया की चलते, जमाखोरी की चलते, या सही वक्त पर आयात नहीं किया गया इसी के चलते, वजह क्या आप जानना चाहते हैं?
No, I am addressing on everything also. Premachandran ji, I am addressing every issue. I am also addressing the issue raised by one of the honorable members, and therefore you should have the patience to listen to that also. No, I will listen to you. All right. Onion is something which even other ji raised. Maharashtra MPs raised. So it's my duty to respond to them also. Hold on. So, I'm coming to IDBA. So the 4 R's that we adopted about reorganizing, restructuring, and recognizing that there's an NPA problem gave us this recapitalization step. Recapitalization was done by government by infusing 21,157 crores into IDBI since 2015 after we came. And LIC infused 21,624 crores. So both put together have given 42,781 crores to the IDBI only because of the rampant loan largesse which happened during 8 and 14. Now, this has reduced the net NPAs. Therefore, the NPA ratio from the peak of 17.3% in September of 2018, it has come down to 5.97% now in September 2019. So from 17.3, it has come down to 5.97, which is below the RBI's 6% net NPA threshold. And therefore, under the prompt corrective action, IDBA has come out because of this infusion of cash done by the government and also by the RBI, by the LIC. Now, therefore, the supplementary demand for grant, if it comes in, it is only because we are constantly correcting those errors, those largies, those benefits which were given between 2008 to 14 as a national responsibility. So I hope that sort of addresses the majority of the questions. There were questions raised on railways, which I do not want to take too much time. I will probably stop with this. There is this question of the insurance companies. I've given you one on the IDBI. There are a few other things which I can go on an elaborate thing. I'm coming. That is something which you flagged today. I'm not giving it as an assurance, but that is something which I've heard from you. I'm certainly not giving an assurance, but I'll have to go back and see. You've given me some data, I'll have to go back to see. Where does that come from? Is it all NPA? What is it? I have to see. So let me go back to see that. To maintain the, as regards to the last word, sir, isse main samapt karungi. To maintain the regulatory minimum solvency across of the three public sector general insurance companies, United India Insurance, National Insurance, and Oriental India Insurance. This solvency is required, that which has been claimed here under the supplementary demand for grants. And therefore, I would want this infusion be cleared as a supplementary demand, because to write any new business, the pressure being faced by these companies on their balance sheets and margins will have to be eased out. And to bring in sustained growth and momentum to these companies, we need this infusion. And that is where the supplementary demand for grant includes 2,500. I've not finished. I've not even sat down, Mr. Kodikunil Sulesh. I've not even sat down. I've not even sat down. NPAs on Mudra, I've just been given something which I can share as a preliminary input. I'll of course have to come back. Against the total loans dispersed, Mudra ke upar, 2.52 is all that we have as NPAs. Against the total loans given under Mudra, 2.52% only is the NPA. Against the total amount outstanding, how much is outstanding? 6% is all that is outstanding. So, outstanding is something beyond due time. But I've already given you the input. So, with that, I suppose, Speaker Sir, मुझे इतना समय आपने दिया, उसके लिए मैं धन्यवाद कहना चाह रही हूँ. एलैबोरेटली जवाब देने का मौका मिला मुझे. इसके बाद मैं आपके द्वारा रिक्वेस्ट करना चाहती हूँ कि हाउस सप्लीमेंट्री डिमांड्स फॉर ग्रांट्स को पारित करें, जिससे सरकार चलाने में सुविधा होगा. धन्यवाद.
प्रोफेसर सौगत राय जी ने वर्ष 2019-2020 2019-2020 के अनुदानों की पूरक मांगों के संबंध में 7 कटौती प्रस्ताव प्रस्तुत किए हैं. अब मैं सभी कटौती प्रस्तावों को सभा में मतदान के लिए रखूंगा. प्रश्न है कि प्रोफेसर सौगत राय द्वारा प्रस्तुत किए गए कटौती प्रस्ताव संख्या 1 से 7 को स्वीकृत किया जाए. जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हैं हाँ कहें, जो इसके विरोध में ना कहें. मेरे विचार में निर्णय ना वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, ना वालों के पक्ष में हुआ. कटौती प्रस्ताव अस्वीकृत हुए. अब मैं वर्ष 2019-2020 के लिए अनुपारक अनुदानों की मांगों के प्रथम बैच को सभा के मतदान हेतु रखना चाहता हूं. प्रश्न है कि कार्यसूची के स्तंभ 2 विभाग संख्या 1 से 4, 7, 8, 10, 11, 14 से 17, 19, 20, 22 से 27, 29, 32 से 34, 38, 40 से 44, 46 से 49, 51, 53, 56 से 58, 60 से 62, 64, 68, 69, 71, 72, 74, 75, 79, 82 से 84, 86, 89 से 91, 93, 94, 94 और 96 से 100 तक के सामने दिखाए गए मांगों के शीर्षों के संबंध में 31 मार्च 2020 को समाप्त होने वाले वर्ष के संधाई के दौरान होने वाले खर्चों को अदा करने के लिए कार्यसूची के स्तंभ 3 में दिखाई गई राजस्व लेखा तथा पूंजा लेखा संबंधी राशियों से अनधिक संबंधित अनुपूरक राशियां भारत की संचित निधि से राष्ट्रपति को दी जाए। जो सदस्य पक्ष में हो कृपया हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य पक्ष में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ। वर्ष 2019-20 के लिए अनुपूरक अनुदानों की मांगे प्रथम बैच पारित हुआ। आइटम नंबर 18 विधेयक को पुनर्स्थापन। माननीय मंत्री जी।
Honorable Speaker, sir, I rise to move for leave to introduce a bill to authorize payment and appropriation of certain further sums from and out of the Consolidated Fund of India for the services of the financial year 2019-20.
प्रश्न ये है कि विधेयक को पुनर्स्थापित करने की अनुमति प्रदान की जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य इसके विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में। माननीय मंत्री जी विधेयक को पुनर्स्थापित करें।
I rise to move that the bill to authorize payment and appropriation of certain further sums from out of the consolidated.
Bill introduce करें।
I've done. I've introduced again. So I rise to move for leave to introduce a bill to authorize payment and appropriation. I introduce the bill. I introduce the bill. Okay. I introduce the bill.
आइटम नंबर 19 विधेयक पर विचार किया जाना है। माननीय मंत्री जी। आइटम नंबर 19।
आइटम नंबर 19 को। Sir, now I rise to move that the bill to authorize payment and appropriation of certain further sums from and out of the Consolidated Fund of India for the services of the financial year 2019-20 be taken into consideration.
प्रश्न है कि विधेयक पर विचार किया जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ। विधेयक पर विचार करने हेतु प्रस्ताव को स्वीकृत किया गया। अब सभा विधेयक पर खंडवार विचार करेगी। प्रश्न खंड 2 और 3 विधेयक का अंग बने।